anywhere else. Not only that, the team are currently looking for carpenters, furniture makers, or indeed apprentices to join their small but dynamic team. So if that sounds like you, make sure you give them a call today.
Want to make a difference for a worthwhile cause? We've got the opportunity for you. CMAX is trialling a new potential treatment to help those with autoimmune conditions. If you're aged 18 to 55 and generally healthy, you might be eligible to participate. Enjoy a comfortable 4-night stay at CMAX, attend one follow-up visit and get paid for your time. It's a rewarding experience and you'll be making a real impact. Interested? Visit cmax.com.au today.
Over 50 and ready to dive into something amazing? This is for you. We're planning for your future with 2 new over 50s lifestyle resorts in Goolwa and Encounter Bay. With our vision for world-class facilities and endless activities, your next phase of life could deliver your best years yet with pools, gymnasiums, bowling greens and more. Visit our new display centre at 1 Banfield Road, Goolwa North, or check out lakesideresort.com.au or oceanviewresort.com.au.
FIVEAA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to FIVEAA on Facebook or YouTube. Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. FIVEAA Breakfast.
90 minutes after 6, news headlines on this Tuesday morning. Alan Jones' lawyer says the former broadcaster denies any misconduct after being charged with historical indecent assault and sexual touching offences. He's facing a total of 24 charges from 8 people between 2001 and 2019. One of the alleged victims apparently is a high-profile Olympian. He's been granted bail. His first court appearance will be on December 18. After 7 o'clock this morning, you'll hear from his lawyer and indeed the Assistant Police Commissioner in Victoria. Been very forthcoming with some of the detail of some of the alleged offending. So you'll hear more about this after 7 o'clock today.
Yeah, it's all fallen down around his ears, I think. And one of the things that defined Jones as a broadcaster was he would often be the champion of young people, and I don't say that in a sort of sinister way. But he would sort of take them under his wing and have a sort of very paternalistic, sort of schoolmasterly relationship with them, and it would come through in his broadcasting. But as I was alluding to yesterday, there's long been suggestions that some of those relationships were dubious, and some of the people that he became involved with was... I know a guy who went to school, the private school in Queensland, where Jones was a teacher. He's got nothing good to say about him. In fact, I know 2 guys who went to that school. Yeah.
Well, yeah, more will come out over the course.
I'm not saying anything sexual there.
Just general unpleasantness.
Authoritarian.
Okay.
Yeah.
A concerning number of students in SA public schools are being suspended. I found this number unbelievable. The Times has crunched the numbers. As many as 1 in 9 students being sent home for behaviour. That can't be right.
I sent home.
Sent home's pretty dramatic, though. 1 in 9.
Total that is suspended, isn't it? If you're told you're not allowed to be at school, then you're suspension.
Total numbers of students suspended or excluded across the state's public and primary and secondary schools peaked at a record of more than 5,000 last year, but numbers are reducing. Is that 5,000 individual instances, or are we...
Or 5,000 students?
Yeah, that's right.
Not sure. Seems like a lot.
1 in 9 seems extraordinary. Denmark has announced the world's first tax on livestock emissions. In 2030, farmers will have to pay for the methane for cows and pigs. The revenue will go towards turning large tracts of land back to the wild. Well, it'll make large tracts of land that used to be farmed on pretty cheap, I reckon.
Yeah.
That'll be one thing it achieves. Good luck being a farmer in Denmark. Or to buy meat in Denmark. Clearly, no cost of living crisis there.
I wonder if it's all animals. Don't they eat bear and reindeer and stuff like that there?
Well, yeah. I would
Maybe
imagine
that's right, because they're wild. Well, no, they fart too, don't they?
I would have thought.
Why are the cows getting all the attention? Poor things.
Has any of our listeners seen the new Gladiator sequel? 25 years in the making. Give us a call. Put on your best Lucy Loken and give us a review if you have. It has stormed the Australian box office, making $7.6 million on its debut weekend. It is the number 1 movie, raked in a record-breaking $87 million worldwide. That said, it's got a lot of money to make. Cost $250 million to make. Remember how big a deal the first Gladiator was? Remember
Yeah.
Big Ed? It was such a huge event.
Did you like it?
I didn't love it.
I didn't.
I wasn't a big fan of it. Oh, really? I thought that was generally a beloved film, but I didn't really do it for me.
It was nowhere near as good as Life of Brian.
Release Russell Crowe, and I don't know if this is... I read this, but I don't know the sourcing of it, but it famously thought, infamous really perhaps, thought it was a poorly written movie. And his famous line where he talks about, I will avenge you in this life or the next, he thought it was garbage, but he basically said, I'm that good. Watch what I do with this crap.
Yeah, right. Apparently the first Gladiator cost $103 million to make, so it's gone up considerably since then. Probably the price of steel, war in Ukraine, supply chain issues.
Yeah, that's right. Oil.
How good's LA Confidential?
That's terrific.
That is stunningly good.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Guy Pearce is terrific in that film.
Guy Pearce is a great actor. He's fantastic.
Danny DeVito is that sleazebag tabloid journalist.
Yeah, terrific movie.
Real hero of mine. That was a joke.
Let's have a look at the weather, shall we, for the rest of this week. It's a very cool 9.6 degrees outside at the moment, making us the second coolest capital city in Australia this morning. Only Hobart cooler 8.7. Balmy 12.1 in Canberra. Heading for a top, though, today of a sunny 25 degrees. And that just begins a stretch of seriously warm weather. So have a listen to this. Tomorrow, 29 and sunny. Thursday, 34 and mostly sunny. Friday, 37. Then we drop back to 31. And now forecast up to 10 mils of rain on Saturday or 10 mils of rain on Sunday when it'll be 27. But it's going to be warm right throughout and very tropical feeling. Monday, 29 with 3 mils forecast, for example. So some very interesting and warm but wet when it gets to the weekend weather on the way.
Simon from Seaford says he'd like to see an AI driverless car that can get around the Britannica roundabout. That'd be the ultimate test here, wouldn't it? That's our Lima equivalent.
That's where they need to bring it.
Yeah.
If they want
experiment.
if they want to train it on the hardest to drive places where human behaviour is erratic, good luck on the Britannia roundabout.
Yeah.
They might shut down the industry if they try to put one there.
They need to do it under peak conditions where there's like a little old lady who's about to go and meet friends for coffee on Kensington Road and a couple of recently arrived Uber drivers from Afghanistan doing their first shift. And then like some angry tradie who just wants to get through as fast as he can. Frazzled mum picking up the kids from soccer practice. You need a few cars like that in there, and whooshka, off you go.
The Britannia roundabout, you need to both know the driving rules, be prepared to discard the driving rules, but also be an expert in psychology and human behaviour, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Because what you've described is the sort of thought process you have to make when you're there.
That's right.
Yeah, what is that person going to do?
I reckon you've almost got to just pick your gap and just get in there.
That literally is how it works.
Yeah. He's got, all right, there's no cars there, I'm going in.
Frank in Seaton has seen the new Gladiator. Frank, what'd you think of it?
It's not too bad. The first one was a lot better for my liking. Yeah, I didn't... it was all right. It was okay. I watched it last night on my phone, more tablet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
download it, mate.
No. I've got it as a pirate app. You can watch any movies you like, and I watch anything that's on the cinemas or not even on the cinemas yet. And have to get the first look.
You're those ads, Frank. You would not steal a car.
Nah.
Didn't worry you.
I haven't actually. Wink, wink.
Not a car, just a couple of films. Good on you, Frank.
Hey, booing your full Lucy Loken, Frank. How many stars?
I'll give it 3.
3 stars.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for that,
Generous.
Frank. There you go. Frank gets an advanced copy of these things, clearly, because he's a professional reviewer. Now, I'm
not betting Frank if he made it all the way to the end either, because I did have to part with $50 yesterday.
That was an expensive.
Honoured my bet.
Expensive bet. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. Hates a bet. Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Glider or garage doors. Gliderall.com.au. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, boys. What a great movie Gladiator was, wasn't it? Russell Crowe.
No, we didn't really like it, mate.
You didn't like it?
Yeah,
No,
a bit
sorry.
lukewarm on the old Gladiator.
Yeah.
I was the best because the crowd loved me. Win the crowd, and you win your freedom. That was the old boy. That was the old boy when he's giving trying to tell Russell Crowe that you need to win them over. You need to stop being so brutish, and Anyway, I digress. Boys, huge game tomorrow. We know that with the Socceroos. I'll get to that, Will, because I know you'll be here anyway. But it's 4:45 a.m.
Yeah,
massive game for the Socceroos.
For us.
Very good timing. That game's on free to wear. That game's on free to wear.
Oh, well, I think it would be.
Has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's a World Cup remember the away World Cup qualifier. In the first round was on Paramount.
Right.
So I actually don't know what the status of the one tomorrow morning.
The Saudi game, sadly, was on free-to-air television, so we all got to see that garbage.
Well, yeah.
So this is us versus Saudi
Bahrain.
Arabia.
Bahrain, and we lost to them here 1-0.
Oh, so this is us playing at home.
Away now.
Oh no, we're away.
Yeah, we're away. So we lost at home. So yeah, this is a huge clash for them. What about the 36ers? This is getting a little bit messy, isn't it? The whole situation. There's now claims of racial abuse being thrown around. The 36ers have got until 6 o'clock tonight to explain the actions of Montrezl Harrell and also Kendrick Davis, two of the players that were caught up. It's getting into a pretty sort of...
Explain their actions, Rennie, in terms of what happened once it hit the sideline or in the moment. Because I couldn't work out...
They were being racially abused, though, weren't they?
Well, that's one of the claims, yeah.
Why do they have to explain anything?
Perhaps the actions leading up. You know, I think those comments... Yeah.
Oh, I love when sporting codes do that. Can you explain? I don't know. I was angry. I pushed the bloke. He pushed me.
We were losing.
You ever seen blokes play sports? Just kind of what happens.
Yeah.
Like, what do we need? We don't need the FBI to investigate this, do we?
Yeah.
So you were taking the game extremely seriously.
Yeah.
And you're annoyed that you might lose.
So keep an eye on that. Rolly and Timmy Gill have that covered because that's going to...
some dodgy link to this bloke, the guy, the fan. Isn't he some sort of...
The one wearing the hoodie, the season ticket holder.
Colourful.
Yeah, there's been all sorts
identity.
of speculation, but I don't know what of that is substantiated.
Right.
And then last night, this happened. Marcus Stoinis put on a bit of a show in the T20 match.
Oh, that's the biggest of Stoinis! That is enormous in Hobart! Stoinis lands it on the roof!
5 sixes, 5 fours, but it's all really pales into insignificance, doesn't it, with the first test coming up on Friday. I think we all worry about that. Australia, India in total disarray at the moment with what's going on off the pitch and injuries left, right and centre. Players of having kids, Rohit Sharma, you know, the side's been getting absolutely lambasted by the media for their poor performance at home and now coming out here. Beware, though, I reckon. I still think they've got a bit of bite in them. So
they'll be up and about.
They'll be up and about, but I hope the Aussies pulverise them because there's nothing more arrogant than the Indian cricket team.
Oh, the entire ICC.
Yep. So
BCC.
I hope it's 5-0. And
Come on, Tom. At least they're not English.
Yeah, well, I don't know who I dislike more, but both. Almost in equal measure. Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Oh, no, all those tosses at Lords, you can't beat that.
Yeah, but the way
being deeply irritating.
Indian cricket runs cricket now.
Yeah.
Like nothing happens in cricket without the say-so of the Indian. Like England are kind of like sort of a bit shrug your shoulder. It's a great rivalry, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're not the ones that are commandeering the entire sport, co-opting it for their own benefit.
No,
they're elitist.
They're elitist sooks.
That's that they are. And we just usually beat them. India's in real danger of being a lot better than us consistently.
That's true. What is that?
Good on you, boys.
Get on you, ready.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny today, heading for 25 with the 6:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extra's Holistic Care. PhysioExtra.com.
2 teenagers are on life support in Thailand suffering suspected methanol poisoning. The 19-year-old women were at a backpackers hostel in Laos when they consumed a spiked drink. 2 others have died and at least 10 are in hospitals after consuming the drinks. Reporter Christina Hearn says the women's families are by their side.
The parents flew, as you can imagine, straight away to Thailand to be by their bedside. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade say they are providing consular assistance to the 2 Australians and their families.
A key government fund is announcing its first rollout of cash nearly 2.5 years after being established. The National Reconstruction Fund will give $40 million to Queensland business Russell Mineral Equipment. The opposition says it's disappointing it's taken so long for money to start flowing from the fund. The Kremlin has accused US President Joe Biden's administration of wanting to escalate the conflict in Ukraine by allowing Kiev to use long-range missiles for strikes in Russia. More from the BBC's Steve Rosenberg.
Vladimir Putin had made it clear weeks ago that he would view strikes on Russia with Western long-range missiles as the direct involvement of NATO countries in the war in Ukraine. But he knows that in 2 months' time, Donald Trump will be in the White House, a US president who has voiced skepticism about continued military support for Kiev. The Kremlin leader may factor that in as he decides how to react to President Biden's decision.
Veteran broadcaster Alan Jones is waking up under strict bail conditions after being charged with historical indecent assault and sexual touching offences. The 83-year-old was arrested at a unit in Sydney yesterday after police carried out a search of the property. He's facing a total of 24 charges against 8 people. His lawyer Chris Murphy says his client will fight the allegations.
Nothing has been tested, nothing has been proven. Alan Jones will assert his innocence appropriately in the courtroom. He denies any misconduct.
Effectively treating Alzheimer's disease will likely involve a combination of therapies. Melbourne St Vincent's Institute of Medical Research has been studying an enzyme associated with the disease. Scientists say it could be a key to creating drugs which can slow cognitive decline. Small and isolating environments could change the way people taste or respond to certain food aromas. RMIT researchers are working to understand why astronauts in space report meals tasting differently. The team tested responses to smells like vanilla, almond and vinegar. Dr. Julia Lowe says there is a correlation between an environment and the way food tastes.
The environment that we are in could stimulate the emotions that we feel about food, and that could have an impact on the type of food that we're choosing and how we taste different types of food as well.
Now looking at 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Graham. The Adelaide 36ers have until 6 o'clock tonight to explain the actions of Montrezl Harrell and Kendrick Davis following Sunday's spiteful contest between Melbourne United and the Sixers. There are now claims of racial abuse being used by fans who became caught up in a heated exchange between players, prompting some to call for lifetime bans. Well, Australia's claimed a 3-0 series sweep over Pakistan in their T20 series after smashing the visitors by 7 wickets in the third and final match in Hobart. Marcus Stoinis was awarded player of the match for his unbeaten 61 off only 27 balls, which included 5 sixes. Meantime, the Adelaide Strikers women will take on the Perth Scorchers later this afternoon as they look to claim back-to-back WBBL wins. Well, the Fox sisters have been crowned joint winners of the Don Award for the achievement most inspiring the nation. Naomi and Jess's Olympic domination, winning 3 gold medals between them, saw them take out Sport Australia's highest honour. Lauren Jackson has received the Dawn Award for her contribution to sport, while champion hurdler Sally Pearson has been inducted into the Hall of Fame. Pearson says it's important for athletes to stop and smell the roses whilst they're competing.
Take a moment to look around because it will be over in a second, and then all of a sudden you're getting inducted into the Australia Sporting Hall of Fame and your career as an athlete, as an elite athlete, is finished.
Great achievement, Graham. That is the 5AA Sport.
Brilliant. Good on you, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Sunny today, heading for 25, then getting hotter as the week progresses. Tomorrow, sunny 29. Thursday, mostly sunny 34. Then Friday, partly cloudy and 37. Currently, it's 10. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $469.90 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
"24 minutes to 7. Lots of talk so far on the program already about what you learnt while driving your car, what you don't any longer do that you learnt whilst driving a car, and indeed the problematic issue of training AI for driverless cars on erratic human behaviour. It's led to a lot of funny texts on the Duttons text line. Duttons, a third-generation family-owned dealership with over 7 years' experience and easy to do business with, as people nominate the areas essentially around Adelaide where the AI would struggle the most, or where it probably needs to do the most training. A lot of chat about the Britannia roundabout and some other problematic driver behaviours.
I like this other one. Alternatively, forget the Britannia roundabout. What about if the car can avoid entering the O-Bahn? That'd be a step ahead. Mate, after my wonderful 5-week stint living full-time at Aldinga, I wouldn't mind an AI car that could convince all the mainly tradies who use the Southern Expressway when it's dark that the speed limit's not 150.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, it stunned me every morning, and, you know, I'm not generalising, but there would be from Aldinga to Darlington, there would have been at least 3 to 5 blokes who went past me doing easily 130. Just oh, okay. What they take the speed limits down at night, do they? Most people sit there doing 100, 105. It's funny, isn't it? 105. Does anyone ever set their speed limit to exactly the speed limit, or do you give yourself a couple of bonus Ks?
Yeah.
I think most people go for the bonus Ks option.
Well, as long as it's not 50 bonus Ks, I think, is what you're saying.
It shouldn't be any bonus Ks.
No,
shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
No. But it's always a few bonus Ks.
It's always a few bonus Ks. The reason we've been talking about driving this morning is because Darren Davis, president of the Get Home Safe Foundation, is joining us on the program to talk about some legislation that's changed in the last couple of days that you probably haven't heard about. Darren, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
Now, Darren, this is going to change things for people both at the very start of their driving lives and at potentially the end of their driving lives.
Yeah, so certainly, mainly at the start of their driving lives, this is a driver training and licensing reform, and it's the biggest reform for decades, possibly ever, but certainly since the government testing was taken away 20 odd years ago now. So the reform was put through following an ICAC report that highlighted some dodgy instructors, to put it mildly. You know, some very incorrect behaviour, and certainly some people that were taking bribes for licences, and you know, the system that we've got unfortunately does lean to that. But the minister came out with some pretty harsh language to begin with, to you know, give a real impression that the industry was corrupt, and it's only really been a very, very small percentage, but it led to the ICAC report, and the reform was billed as a bit of a surprise to the industry at the time.
So, Darren, in terms of driver training, nothing's actually changed, though, has it? Like, there's no law saying that now at a certain age you have to do a refresher course, or has it changed?
No, so there was a report out of New South Wales last week that suggested that, you know, maybe we should retest everyone at the age of 50, or possibly a little bit older, and the practicalities around that, it would just be so difficult to do. This sort of idea has been bandied around over the last few decades, and yeah, it's going to be a really hard one. But we do have to look at people when certain mistakes are possibly made on the road. As people get older, we can start looking at their driving, and yeah, there's a system in place at the moment, and that is government testing, which is where the learner drivers are going to be going towards in the next couple of years as well. But yeah, the government testing at the moment is just for those senior drivers who maybe they've had a stroke or a brain injury, or maybe they've started to maybe give signs of early dementia, or there's been some medical issues, and they want to maintain their licence, so they have to have a government test.
We were talking at the start of the show, Darren, about how I mentioned, and some of our other listeners have been joining me, saying they've just gone through the same thing of teaching their teenage kids how to drive. And it struck me that there were certain things I now do at the age of 55 on the road that would probably see me fail my Ps if I were to apply for them now. And one example I gave was habitually indicating upon exiting a roundabout. Is that, do you think, a good example of the kind of thing that for older drivers, things like that can just sort of fall from the wayside?
Yeah, it's a perfect example, actually, and you know, one of the things that certainly the Get Home Safe Foundation really does try to encourage people to do is when you are putting your kids through that learner process, actually make sure that your instructor is happy for you to sit in the back of the car and observe some of the lessons, because people learn so much about their driving when they're watching a driving instructor teach their kids. And yeah, indicating to leave roundabouts is a perfect example. So many people don't think they have to indicate, but the law actually says you must indicate to leave every roundabout if it's practical to. So the really, really small ones, when you're just following the road ahead, by the time you indicate left to leave, you've probably left anyway. But certainly every single roundabout where you have time to, you must indicate left to say that you're leaving.
I didn't know either that you weren't meant to bash your hand on the driver's door when Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run came on the radio either, until the kids told me to stop doing it. That was a joke. I didn't do that.
But certainly, Darren, it's at the beginning of your driver life too. Now incentivised to use a licensed driving instructor, because I can't believe how many hours it is these days compared to what it was when I got my licence. But you need 75 hours to get your Ps, but you get a bonus 10 if you use a registered driving instructor.
Yeah, so the government are trying to encourage families to use driving instructors as much as they can, because the driving instructors are the professionals. They can teach the right habits. They can make sure that people are up to scratch on the road laws. And parents, as you just said yourself, parents sometimes forget about road laws, or road laws have changed over the years. So, yeah, certainly using the actual teachers, it's like homeschooling your kids until they're ready for high school. No one would really do that. And we want to encourage everyone to use instructors, because I tell you, there's some amazing instructors out there. There's some very passionate teachers that want the next generation of drivers to be really safe. So, yeah, there's going to be that incentive. And as far as the 75 hours, to be honest, we're actually behind. World research suggests that people should be doing at least 100 hours of driver experience before they are out there on their own. So, and other states are 100 and 100 plus. So, yeah, that's something that could be looked at in the future. But certainly for now, the emphasis is if you can, use a driving instructor as much as possible, because the whole family could benefit from it.
I totally agree with you, Darren. And we made my son get some extra time, not because he was not proficient, but we said that the instructor is much more adept at teaching how to drive than we are. And I think most parents, I reckon it's a time of great paranoia for parents. And the first time your kids are on their Ps on their own, you're like, good luck out there.
Yeah.
And, and really, frankly, it's not them. It's some of the other yahoos. It's meth drivers. It's what happened to Ben Hyde on West Terrace. It's that sort of stuff that, as a parent, makes you lie awake at night if your kids are using the car. It's terrible.
What if any of our listeners, any memorable stories or recollections from the time you had a driving instructor or you were taught driving? 8223 300. You can text us on the Duttons text line. I had a guy who, eccentric's not the right word, but he taught me things in ways that I'll never, I still think about now. For example, pulling out from a side street or a main road, so you're turning left to go with the flow of traffic. And I remember this day, or it might have been my second driving lesson. I'm sitting there, I'm indicating, waiting, and there was, you're so cautious when you're 17 or 16 or whatever, and this car's driving, it was indicating to park on the side of the road before the street I was turning out of. And you could see it was pulling in there, and I was waiting, and he goes, what are you waiting for? The guy's, he's pulling over, isn't he? And I started to pull out, and then he slammed on the brake, and I lurched forward. And he goes, you're a mind reader, are you? How'd you know he was indicating to pull up there and not directly past you on the thing? Come past you and park past you. And I was like, well, you told me. I'm thinking, he goes, you can't read minds. And that's
a good point.
Every time I pull out of a side street, I remember that moment.
Well, the converse of that is the only thing that a car approaching you with an indicator on, all that means is that their indicator's working.
Yeah, exactly.
I can remember someone saying that to me.
Exactly right.
It's only what sticks in your mind, isn't it?
Yep. 14 to 7. Let's check traffic. Police and weather are coming up in just a moment.
Thanks, Phil. And morning, David. Roads and breakdown free this morning, so a nice hassle-free run into work, which is good. Road closures still in place around the eastern of the city for the Adelaide 500, but good news, some roads are open, including Bartels Road, so a good run in if you normally come that way. Works at Semaphore Park to look out for, Bower Road near West Street, and slow at Leeward Gardens for works on the freeway in Mount Barker Road. Canberra 2 this morning, Bicentennial Drive at Golden Grove. When the lucky country isn't so lucky with Amy. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS and TMD at amy.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
If your business needs finance fast, speak to Universal Finance right now. Universal Finance make business loans easy. Unsecured business loans and business overdrafts. Universal Finance can help your business now with same-day settlements in most cases. See Universal Finance in Kent Town or search Universal Finance. This is general advice only, and you should consider the terms and conditions before determining whether this advice is suitable for your situation.
This'll have you singing in the shower. EcoVantage can help you install an energy-efficient heat pump for all your hot water and save you thousands. EcoVantage should be your first call for government incentives. They can tell you what you're entitled to and how much you can expect to save on an energy-efficient heat pump. Pump your power bills down with EcoVantage. Head to ecovantage.com.au to find out how you could take advantage of government incentives today.
You don't just do a good barber, you're the tong master. You're not flipping snags. You've earned the title Backyard Hospitality Director, so you deserve the very best outdoor kitchen from Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens.
Choose from the best appliances at a bar fridge or a pizza oven, or stun your guests with one of their custom-made concrete bench tops. Now they do indoor concrete bench tops too. These handmade bench tops can really update any kitchen space. Custom made for you, every piece unique, especially for you.
Call for a consultation and quote today or visit the Seaford Meadows showroom on Farrow Circuit. The best backyard hospitality directors choose Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens. Go to adelaideoutdoorkitchens.com.au.
$20,000. Sounds awesome, yeah? Imagine winning it. Edwardstown Mazda and only Edwardstown Mazda is giving you the chance to win $20,000. Buy a new, demo or used car from Edwardstown Mazda during their incredible 2024 plate clearance sale and you're in the draw. Why would you go anywhere else? Your dream Mazda and $20,000?
It's gotta be
Edwardstown Mazda, the #1 destination for Mazda in SA. T's and C's apply. T24/1786.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
11 to 7, let's talk about the weather. Cool start, but it's going to warm up the next few days. Simon Timke will tell you how hot it's going to get. Simon, good morning to you.
Morning, Will. Morning, David.
So what are we thinking for today?
Yeah, look, plenty of sunshine around today, and as you said, it was a little bit cooler overnight. We got down to 9.3 degrees for our minimum, currently 11.4, and expecting a maximum of 25 for the city. Around the suburbs, 26 degrees for Elizabeth, 23 for Mount Barker and Noarlunga, 24 degrees for Glenelg. The winds today, light southeasterly to start off with, and that is producing a little bit of cloud about the eastern slopes of the hills there, but that should clear away pretty quickly through the morning. So plenty of sunshine on the way for today. A little bit of fresh sea breeze during the afternoon near the coast too. Then gradually warming over the next couple of days and continuing mostly sunny conditions. Sunny and 29 for Wednesday, then getting a little bit hotter later in the week. Mostly sunny, 34 degrees for Thursday, and getting pretty hot on Friday. That's the hottest day for the week ahead, 37 degrees. Probably mostly sunny, but there will be a little bit of cloud around at times as well, I think. And then a change moving across over the weekend. So I think we'll see some showers on Saturday and Sunday, and gradually cooling down with those showers as well. 31 for Saturday, 27 for Sunday. Still a shower or two left for Monday next week, 29 degrees. So getting hot late in the week, then a little bit wet over the weekend.
It's very poorly timed rain for those of us who are planning on doing some outdoor landscaping on Saturday, Sunday, Simon. But it sounds like significant rain.
There's potential for it to be a little bit wet. Yeah, I mean, we've had a very dry run for quite a while here, but it does look like we might pick up some useful rainfall totals. So might not get the work done in the garden, but at least the garden will get a good water, David.
Well, it sounds like a good excuse to stay inside and watch days 2 and 3 of the first test.
There you go. Ready made.
Plan B,
Simon.
sorted.
Let's head to Safe Bob. Senior Constable Matt Brown on the line. Matt, a suspicious house fire at Davern Park.
That's right, Will. Just before 4 a.m. today, police and MFS crews were called to a house in Hambridge Road after reports of a fire. And occupants of the property were evacuated while fire crews battled the blaze. And the fire was extinguished soon after, and there were no reports of any serious injuries. But police suspect the fire was deliberately lit, and anyone who may have witnessed the incident is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Now, Matt, what's the go with this woman who was arrested in the pursuit in Port Pirie? This sounds pretty spectacular.
That's right, David. About 6 p.m. last night, police received multiple calls from concerned members of the public about a white Holden sedan driving erratically around the town. And the car was swerving, hitting other parked cars and fences, and the driver was believed to be under the influence. The car had been reported stolen from Port Pirie South earlier yesterday, and police located the vehicle on Anzac Road at Risdon Park about 6:15. But the car failed to stop for police, and there was a brief pursuit, and a police car was struck, causing minor damage before the pursuit was terminated. And a short time later, police located the vehicle driving into the car park of a school on Wandera Road. An officer managed to reach in through the open window and grab the car keys. However, he was dragged along by the car for a short distance before it came to a stop. The officer suffered minor injuries but was taken to the local hospital. And the driver, a 40-year-old Solomon Town woman, was charged with numerous offences, including driving dangerously to avoid a police pursuit, endanger life, property damage, and refuse the blood test. So she was refused bail and will appear in the Port Pirie Magistrates Court today. So we're still appealing for any witnesses who may have seen the car driving around Port Pirie yesterday. If they had dash cam footage, please come forward and contact police.
So she knowingly drove down the street while drunk with a cop with the police officer's hand through the window, dragging the copper along the road.
Yeah, exactly right. So lucky he wasn't more seriously injured. But certainly a brave act. But
was it a male officer, Matt?
That's right. Yeah, the male officer managed to stop her before she could do even more damage.
Unbelievable, gutsy work by the boys in blue there.
The old refusing the blood test or drug and alcohol test. Does that play? Has anyone ever got away with anything because they refused the test? The court just says, I guess we'll never know.
Let's just follow that one through the courts, though, eh?
Yeah. Well, that could have been pretty dangerous for that police officer.
Totally.
This is a good text we got in the Dutton's text line. Caroline from Greenock sent us a message on the issue of talking about older drivers. The SAPOL Road Safety Section's holding a free session for older road users 1 p.m. Tuesday the 10th of December at the West Beach Road Safety Centre. SAPOL say that the session is aimed at older road users wanting to stay up to date with the road rules and assess their fitness to drive. Everyone's welcome to come along, though, they said. It's not just for people over the age of 70s. They'll do a whole bunch of things. Road rules that have changed over the course of your driving lifetime. Options if you're trying to sort of think of other things to do other than drive, and so forth. So if it's something you want more information on, SAPOL are holding that session. Thank you for that, Caroline. It's good information. We are talking about teaching people to drive or learning to drive yourself. Mel in Marston's called in. Morning, Mel.
Good morning. I just wanted to talk about my experience with my daughter. She was 17 about 8 years ago, and so I think the rules were a little bit different back then, but we chose to, I chose to teach her, and it was the best 12 months of my life, just spending so many hours in the car with her. And we lived out north near Elizabeth, and we went I took her, made her drive everywhere where I thought that she would drive when I wasn't in the car, so Hindley Street. Just into the city, we did the airport, we did the hills, we did it at night, different times of the day, to really experience all those different conditions. And it was the most fantastic time of my life. It was the last time I sort of knew that I was really going to be in the car with her, perhaps for really, great length of time. And we had some great conversations during that time. And she did have a couple of driving lessons before she went for her P's and got her P's on her first go. And she now judges my driving regularly.
Full circle. She just had a good instructor, Mel, that's all. That's a lovely story. Yeah, it's a really good point too. It's a nice time. Captive audience, suddenly you got the teenage child in the car.
Yeah, no, it's true. What Mel was saying is she was saying that I was thinking about all the places Jim and I went. Like, I took him up Green Hill Road, right up to the hills. I said, mate, this is one of the worst roads in South Australia, so good luck. Like, it's so tight, all these blind corners. I said, but the good thing is, at the end, we get to go to a really good bakery in Uradler. And it was a fun day out.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Let's go to Colonel Light Gardens. John, good morning.
Yes, I reckon there's 5 skills in driving. First one is driving the car itself, which is difficult. Second one is applying the skills to different roads, city and country. Third one is interaction with other cars, bikes and people. I think some people drive around expecting not to see other cars on the road. The fourth one is know the road rules. And the fifth one I've made up is when you get in a car, get in road mode. get in the frame of mind that you are actually driving a car.
Yeah.
Get your mind focused. Concentrate on it. Don't, because people have got busy lives. They're thinking of other things. Think about driving on the road and concentrating and looking.
Yeah.
So they're my 5 rules.
Are you an instructor, John?
No, I just made those up myself.
No, well,
They're good.
From 50 years of driving.
They're
I
excellent.
reckon number 5 is really important, John. Like, treat every time you get into the car like it's actually quite a significant event. Like you're putting giant, 2 tons of steel into motion at 60 kilometres an hour. That's something worth thinking about, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think people need to be, in that frame of mind that it is dangerous, and so you got to treat it as dangerous, and also, don't expect other people to do the right thing. So drive defensively, and also, I find that so many people don't use their indicator for turning, for changing lanes. That doesn't help at all. So you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah. Good on you, John. That's a
thanks,
great
John.
call, mate. John in Colonel Light Gardens, thank you. Dylan in Seaford says, in some Adelaide suburbs, kids are teaching themselves to drive at about 12 years old, aren't they? And in brackets he says, apparently I'm cynical.
They grow up so fast.
Stay cynical, Dylan.
Yeah.
We like it.
Very
2
funny.
minutes to 7, 5AA News is coming up. Wrap of the morning stories next, including some more detail on Alan Jones' alleged offending. We're going to talk about a drug warning to schoolies ahead of this weekend and a real estate opportunity in the country in South Australia, bigger than some European nations. That's next.
Right Price, Adelaide's best in heating and cooling, has risen to new heights. Literally, Right Price are now your roofing people too. Same exceptional service, value and quality. From total roof replacement, including tiled roof installation, to tile roof repairs, cleaning and painting. And for peace of mind, a rock solid quote. So the only surprise you'll get is how magnificent your roof and home looks. Do it right. Visit rightpriceroofing.com.au.
You can get your roof right at Right Price.
Feeling stuck? Henry Bloom's Herbalax to the rescue. It relieves constipation and promotes bowel regularity. Feel light, free and ready to go with Henry Bloom's Herbalax 200 grams dried herb or capsules. Always follow the directions for use.
Hi, Brady Bitt here from Mawson Lakes Mazda. There's a lot to like about Mawson Lakes Mazda. They'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash, and your breakfast or lunch is on them. Your car gets the love too, with their state-of-the-art service centre brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, they'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Transform your outdoor space and turn it into a great year-round entertainment area with an opening and closing roof from Louver House. Our Louver House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight, so you can entertain no matter the weather. Best of all, they're manufactured right here in SA with rain sensors and options like LED lighting. Find out more with a free design measure and quote. See the light with Louver House. louverhouse.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Up to the minute news for South Australia. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 25 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning. I'm Graham Goodings.
Keep in shape with physio-instructed clinical Pilates and gym classes at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
2 Melbourne teenagers are on life support in Southeast Asia, suffering suspected methanol poisoning. The 19-year-olds were travelling with a group of people in Laos. It's understood 2 other travellers have died and at least a dozen people have been hospitalised after drinking the tainted alcohol. Forensic pathologist Professor David Ranson has told Sky News drinking just 25 to 90 millilitres of the toxic chemical can be fatal.
Essentially, it creates formaldehyde, which is essentially the same chemical that's used to embalm bodies.
A health warning ahead of Schoolies Week. AMA South Australian Chief Dr. John Williams says fake pills being sold as organic ecstasy could have a deadly outcome. He says school leavers celebrating at Victor next week could be offered what they think is MDMA. In reality, it could be a drug containing nitazines, which are up to 50 times more potent than fentanyl. A delegation is heading to Singapore with the aim of promoting the South Australian distilling industry. Distillers SA is leading the group of 6 local producers to showcase their award-winning gin, whiskey, brandy, vermouth and liqueurs for Singaporean importers and consumers. Minister for Trade and Investments Joe Sockarch says our distillers have been producing world-class spirits for some time.
Singapore is the world's largest importer of spirits at over $3 billion a year. So the government is directly supporting this trade mission. We're directly supporting efforts to enter and grow in the world's greatest and most important import market for spirit.
There's been an early morning house fire at Davern Park. Just before 4 a.m, police and MFS crews were called to Hambridge Road. The occupants of the home were evacuated and there have been no reports of serious injury. Police suspect the fire may have been deliberately lit. Anyone who may have witnessed the incident is asked to call Crime Stoppers. Joe Biden has reportedly given the nod for American missiles to be used by Ukraine, aimed deep into Russia. Meanwhile, Russian missiles have struck the Black Sea port city of Odessa, killing at least 8 people and wounding 18 more. Local MP Alexei Honcharenko has told the BBC what happened.
That was very close to my home, so I ran there. It's awful picture, wounded people, the fire, the cars which were in fire, the residential buildings. One more missile hit the university building, but thanks God it did not explode.
The National Reconstruction Fund is delivering its first cash grant 2.5 years after being established. $40 million will be given to a Queensland-based mining technology company. Industry and Science Minister Ed Husick says it's about ensuring Australian businesses don't head offshore.
We think that Australia should be a country that makes things. The NRF is playing a vital part backing the growth of Australia's manufacturing capabilities. And in key areas of sovereign capability, we've got to be able to stand on our own 2 feet. We've got the talented workers in Australian firms. Now they need the investment to grow, and that's what the NRF does.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
And Tom Wren, another win for our cricketers.
Yeah, they're going along pretty nicely in the short form, at least, aren't they, Graham? Australia recording a series sweep over Pakistan in the T20s, winning that final match by 7 wickets in Tasmania. Aaron Hardy took 3 wickets while Marcus Stoinis smashed an unbeaten 61 off only 27 balls, as the Aussies chased down the target of 118 in just the 12th over. Well, Port Adelaide's women will train at Alberton later this morning as they prepare for Saturday's prelim final against North Melbourne at Icon Park. The Power have now won 8 straight matches but face a side that hasn't been beaten this season. The Crows, meantime, will have a light day ahead of their clash against Brisbane on Saturday night, the club into its 6th preliminary final in its short history. Defender Kira Mueller telling Rowie and Timmy G she's loved being a part of the club.
For a young player like myself to come into that elite environment, that kind of, all that is drilled into us is, we want to be the best. We want to, make the prelims, make finals and have that success all the way throughout.
Australian basketball legend Shane Hill says spectators who attack players should be banned for life following ugly scenes at a match in Melbourne. 4 fans were ejected from John Cain Arena after a fight broke out between players and spectators, including some from the Adelaide 36ers. Well, Jess and Naomi Fox's gold medal winning heroics in Paris have been recognised with Sport Australia's highest honour. They've taken home the Don Award for the achievements most inspiring the nation. Briefly elsewhere, Rafael Nadal says he will not be distracted by emotion as he aims to help Spain win the Davis Cup in what will be the final tournament of his career. And the Canadian Grand Prix will be held in late May rather than early June from 2026 as part of Formula One's attempts to reduce carbon emissions. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
G'day there, roads looking pretty good for the run in today. We're accident breakdown free, so good start to the day. Still got some road closures in place around the east end of the city for the Adelaide 500, but they're slowly opening up. Bartell's Road open this morning, which is good. Do have works at Blackwood to look out for, Shepherd's Hill Road near Waite Street, and slow already this morning, the Port Expressway at Port Adelaide. Canberra 2, Port Wakefield Road at 2 Wells. Half price Tuesday at Event Cinemas. Cinebuzz members save 50% on full price adult tickets. Limited time only. Book now at Event Cinemas and save. Season online booking fees apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Sunny and 25 today. Tomorrow sunny 29. Thursday mostly sunny 34. Then Friday partly cloudy 37. Currently it's 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
matter to South Australia. Always Adelaide. This is 5AA.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. iPhone on a stick on top of Hindmarsh Square here, and the sun is up and beaming this morning. It was a cool start, but it's going to be a warm day. Not as warm as it's going to get over the next few days before the rain comes down on the weekend, but a bit of everything spring-wise over the course of the next 4 days. Bit of everything this hour on the program as well. Phil Curry will join us. We will head to Canberra for the latest in federal politics. We've got a jury trial to conduct before 8 o'clock. Someone is going in the running to win $18,000 worth of cruise. Stay listening for your boarding call. That is going to be played before 8 o'clock today. And a suite of stories to get you across everything you need to know before you get about your day today, starting with some more details about a story that broke around this time yesterday. Alan Jones arrested, and we've now learned a little bit more about what he's been charged with and some of the people involved, including a high-profile Olympic athlete among the 8 alleged victims that claimed they were indecently assaulted and sexually touched by Alan Jones over a period of 2 decades. He was arrested by officers at his home in Circular Quay on Monday, charged with 24 offences covering those 8 victims. Here's the Assistant Police Commissioner in New South Wales, Michael Fitzgerald.
I believe historical matters, it takes some people a large amount of time to come forward for a myriad of different reasons. We are pleased these victims had the confidence of the New South Wales Police Force to come forward.
So he was charged with 11 counts of aggravated indecent assault on complaints who were under his authority through an employment contract. Gives you some indication about the relationship there. Also charged with 9 counts of assault with an act of indecency, 2 counts of sexually touching a person without consent, and 2 counts of common assault between 2001 and 2019. His lawyer, speaking on his behalf,
Chris
Murphy says he denies any misconduct.
But I think it's totally contemptible of the Assistant Commissioner of Police to be praising the witnesses who he might like to call victim. This is a matter for a courtroom, and I believe that he's in terrible breach doing that. Nothing has been tested, nothing has been proven. Alan Jones will assert his innocence appropriately in the courtroom. He denies any misconduct. This matter will be defended.
Now, when some of this stuff started surfacing in March of this year, Jones actually spoke on his own behalf to deny it. So this is back before what you've just heard in March this year.
I'm not going to dwell here on the allegations made about me, other than to say that I refute them entirely, but the Get Jones campaign is nothing new in my life.
See, what he said and what his lawyer Chris Murphy just said, the guy's mindset, because he is a sociopath, that's Jones I'm talking about, obviously, he will be feeling right now this sense of unbridled persecution. He will regard it as some sort of vast conspiracy to tear down a great Australian. He will think that he's a victim of the tall poppy syndrome. He might even think that this is some sort of socialist plot.
Because of his politics?
Yeah. As opposed to the detached evidentiary work of the New South Wales Police. The problem Jones has got running this sob story is that his closest colleague at 2GB, Ray Hadley, has himself spoken out in the past in support of a young man who worked at 2GB who raised some concerns. Now, Hadley was much more circumspect yesterday when he addressed it on air, mindful of the fact that it's now all before the courts. But we had a bit to do with Jones in Sydney, and he was a dangerous figure insofar as he's such an egomaniac that he would get his nose out of joint. Like the radio ratings come out, and, you know, some surveys are good, some surveys are bad, and the great joke in radio is that if you have good ones, everyone goes out and has a party, and if you have bad ones, you all mutter out the corner of your mouth about how flawed the methodology is. But AJ, he would get his nose out of joint on the basis of the coverage. So if there was 6 or 8 paragraphs in the Sydney Confidential pages where we normally put the radio stories, and because Jones almost always won, or indeed always did win, and Hadley always won. So often you're looking for an interesting angle. So the story there might have been that, I don't know, 10 years ago, a nascent Kyle and Jackie O program was starting to get traction. So the story might focus on that. So what would happen was that the next day you would get a typed letter from the office of Alan Jones, or more normally, the CEO, John Hartigan, would, saying, complaining about the coverage. I have had 37 consecutive surveys where I've been number one. What is wrong with your newspaper? Like, seriously. He would go completely
that's extraordinary.
berserk about it. And then the boss, John Hartigan, would ring and say, mate, have you heard Alan? He's tipping a huge bucket of shit on us every morning on air. He's saying, well, that was in the Telegraph. I don't know if you can believe that paper anymore. It's garbage. And he's got 500,000 people listening to his show. So you've got to take that seriously. So the job would fall to you as editor a couple of times a year to go out and have a meal with him.
Which you had to do.
Yeah, and it was just a sort of tummy-tickling exercise, but sometimes you'd end up going to the very building where he was arrested yesterday, which looked like it had been decorated by Donatella Versace. Throw rugs, Roman urns, soft furnishings, all of that. And he had this manservant, butler, who worked there and would prepare all the meals. And when you walked in, the first thing you saw was his trouser press. He had this sort of mahogany trouser press. But you'd go in there and he'd talk. I remember once he said to me, he goes, oh, nobody understands the pressures we're under, do they? I thought, what are you talking about? You're living in the best piece of real estate in Australia. But he just always had this sense of persecution that everyone was out to get him. And it would come from a 6-paragraph mention which didn't blow enough smoke up his you-know-what because he thought he was God's gift of broadcasting.
It's just unbelievable.
Just this crazy guy to deal with.
We're going to be talking more about the specifics of this case and some of the allegations after 7 o'clock with Mark Murray from the Daily Telegraph, who's the crime reporter there. So that's coming up after 8 o'clock. More information on this story. Here in South Australia, experts have sounded a warning about pills being sold as organic ecstasy, natural ecstasy, or just MDMA at schoolies this week. Tice is reporting on this. The AMA have sounded the alarm. This happened last year too. There's this stuff called nitazines that are up to 50 times more potent than fentanyl that these drugs are laced with. Have a listen to John Williams, the AMA's boss here in South Australia.
It's not regulated. We don't know what's in the pills. We don't know what dose they are. It can be really dangerous. We know that if pill testing is done, a lot of people decide not to take those pills, which is great.
I hope he was listening. Remember that caller we had about 3 weeks ago who made, I thought, a really logical and passionate argument in favour of pill testing. And for the first time in my life, because I've always instinctively thought, well, hang on a minute, if you have pill testing, you're basically saying some forms of ecstasy are okay to take. But the reality is, if there are some forms of it that are way, 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 way worse and are actually a completely different chemical proposition, like this crap that's apparently doing the rounds right now, as troubling a concept as pill testing is, in the context of this weekend and what the medicos are talking about there, does it make a kind of sense?
I struggle with it. And I don't generally do this on the program, putting it in the context of my own personal experience in life as a teenager growing up and seeing drugs and being exposed to people doing it. I don't do it because I'm the resident nerd of the program as well, so I don't think I've got the most broadly applicable set of experiences. But I always, you know why I never did it? Because I was terrified of it would kill me. Now, if I'd have mate have said, no, mate, it's been tested by this lab.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a problem. I've had it tested.
And you've had 6 beers and your mates are about to take it.
That's right. I wonder how I would have reacted.
That's a good point.
I don't know.
I think we've got Sean back on the line. This is the very caller I just spoke about. G'day, Sean.
Yeah, g'day, Timbo. How are you, mate?
Yeah, well, good.
Hey, I'm glad you're talking about this morning. I don't know if you followed the news overnight with this horrible drug that's been included in, yes, let's say, bad drugs. Stats coming out from schoolies, 4 days in, 0 overdoses, and they've had pill testing for 4 days.
Which state's this in, Sean?
This is in the Gold Coast, mate. This is all over the news. You actually go and Google any of the... it's on the Today Show this morning, but the government have come out and they have said, yes, we're very happy with the outcome, but again, the old rhetoric. However, we don't want to basically give this the green light because, of course, you've got image and all that sort of gear. But stats don't lie, facts and lives do.
Did you hear the point Will just made, Sean, though, about is there a danger that it normalises illicit drug use for young people who otherwise might not be inclined to do it?
Look, the answer is no, and the reason is it's having a discussion more. It's educating these people. Like I said to you last time when I called up, it's not like they're given the green light to say, hey, this is a great drug, take it away. They're there with a medical professional that can have a real discussion. I'm going to refer back to when I was a kid, when I was growing up, when they said, don't do drugs. And without trying to sound like a smart ass, it was basically, we were told by teachers and we were told by parents, don't do drugs. Oh, have you done drugs? Well, no, I haven't, but just don't do them. And we knew back then there was no facts behind it. There was no experience behind it. Whereas when we're talking to these doctors, these testers that are doing it at these festivals or schools or whatever, they can actually speak about the specifics of what it is, what it'll do, what to look out for, that sort of gear. That's never happened before.
Yeah, but my experience, really, Sean, was, you know what was a really powerful deterrent? The odd person that died. Well, that was the most powerful advertisement about not doing any of it. That's why the whole idea terrified me.
Look, it did, and I'll be honest with you. Look, I'm not a drug user, right? I'll say that straight now. I'm not trying to justify anything, but I think it's a really important issue for young people and for the community as a whole. Like, everyone has, for thousands of years, people have used mind-altering substances. Let's just get that out there. And yeah, that thing about people dying, yeah, it does scare you. But if you really want to start to go down those sort of that argument, I mean, look at alcohol. Come on. Like, it's how many people die from alcohol each day, and I'm not saying two wrongs make a right, but people will make that argument. They'll say, well, drunk drivers are killed from alcohol a lot of the time, or people have died from chronic disease from alcohol. So it scared the hell out of me. I remember, I'm not sure if you guys remember back in Sydney in the mid to late 90s, there was a really popular one. I can't even think of her name, I'm sure you can Google it. But that scared everyone that I knew for a while. But what happens is people forget. And then they go, and people got short memories, and people just go on to the next cycle, and then they go, oh, what about this? And it's like, oh, cool, yeah, sure, we'll take it. And they've got friends going, well, yeah, it's fine. I had one last week, and you're like, sure, that's a good story. Let's have one. Whereas with this new system that we're talking, well, not really new, but with this testing, they actually have a medical expert. They can go get it checked out to again minimise it. It's not, it's not giving the green light. It's not removing all risk. But look, it's a form of preventative healthcare, like we use as so many other things.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you, Sean.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Sean. We don't totally agree, but we think you make the case in a thoughtful way. And I'm not sure if I agree or not. I'm a bit all over the place on this one.
Well, it's a worthwhile discussion to have.
Totally.
I mean, you're talking about kids'
no
safety.
One's approaching it from a bloody-minded perspective.
There's nothing ideological about it. I think everyone just wants kids to be as safe as possible. Just about how you achieve that. Lots of Dutton's texts coming through. Dutton's third-generation family-owned dealership with over 7 years' experience. Dutton's, they're easy to do business with.
One here, hello, Dave and Will. Drugs are illegal. They shouldn't be taken by anybody, and you're playing Russian roulette every day with these types of pills. Thank you for that. Morning, boys. Will, you just said the thing that scared you the most was someone dying, but unfortunately people die every day driving, people die having a beer. Are you going to give all of those things up? I'm not a drug tester, I'm not a drug taker, but these teenagers, young adults will do it regardless. So if you can make it safer, then the better it is.
Not sure. I think it's a false equivalency. In all those walks of life, I, like most of our listeners, also take risk mitigation strategies, like not driving 150 in a 100 zone or not drink driving. Now, you can't eliminate all risk, but you can. There are certain things within your control, like I ain't going to take drugs, for example.
Yeah,
that eliminates the risk.
That's one way to avoid it, for sure. Yes, foolproof.
21 minutes after 7, lots of good texts. Very quickly, I just want to mention this because I think this is a fascinating story that probably not a lot of South Australians in the city are familiar with. There's a pastoral grazing property in South Australia called Wilkatana Station. It's located 45 k's north of Port Augusta. It is on the market. It's been in the Tony Sawyer's family for the past 123 years, okay? So this thing hasn't been for sale in anyone's lifetime in South Australia. The reason it's notable and newsworthy, it's 446 square kilometres. So it's bigger than Barbados, it's bigger than Malta, bigger than the Maldives, bigger than the Cayman Islands. It carries about 5,000 ewes, 150 cattle. It is absolutely massive. It's so big they in fact think some of the land, and this is how realestate.com is selling it for some buyers, it could have potential as for ecotourism. It has 4x4 riding tracks, bushwalking on the Hyson Trail. The Hyson Trail goes through there. There's historic sites including the Air Depot where Edward John Eyre camped during his 1839 journey. It's going to auction tomorrow. I can't imagine what this would cost. Some astronomical figure. 446 square kilometres, 44,696 hectares.
That's crazy.
It's just mammoth. It's a huge part of South Australia, and it's going for sale for the first time in more than a century at some time tomorrow.
Is there a price, or is it one of those?
I think it's one of those. We have to contact the agent.
Contact the agent.
Yeah, I don't think they're not printing the advertised price card.
That's right.
All right, we're going to check traffic and come back with some more of your contributions to the program on the Duttons text line and indeed on the open line in just a moment.
Thanks, Will. Roads looking A-OK for the run-in today. We're accident breakdown free, so good start to the day. Still got a few road closures around the east end of the city with the Adelaide 500. Good news though, Bartels Road open this morning. Works at Norwood to look out for the parade near Portrush Road and down at 60 at Hallett Cove for works. Lonsdale Road near Perry Bar Road. Early morning camera, Bridge Road, Salisbury East. Now's the time to get into a new Mazda with plate clearance bonuses across selected 2024 models. Visit your local Mazda dealer and drive away today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Businesses will be mandated to use cash as part of new rules. Robert Barwick, who is Research Director for the Australian Citizens Party.
It's definitely a step in the right direction. Banks will never be able to fulfil their fantasy of eradicating cash. And believe me, they have wanted to eradicate cash.
Matthew Pantelis.
Cash will always have to be supported in the economy.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Now, let's see what's in the swear jar at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. Oh, wrong swear jar. This is it. From Martin the Tiler, affectionately known as Millimetre Martin. He swears you'll love his millimetre-perfect craftsmanship. And here's one from Rick the Plumber. Rick swears to always clean up after himself, guaranteed. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
I'm high! The Excelsior Hotel has always felt like home, and right now, you can tuck into a schnitty and a pint for just $22 in the front bar. Not bad, hey? That's a schnitty and a pint for just $22, only in the front bar. Make sure you check out their $20 jugs of the month too, plus live acoustic music every Saturday and Sunday from 5 till 8 p.m. The Excelsior Hotel. Feels like home, but better. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
G'day everyone, Cornsey here. Now I know a great team and I see one, and the South Australian hydraulic team I rate the highest is BL Shipway. The Shipway team are the best in the business. They've been looking after your hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953 with brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Enerpac, Hydac, Oilpath, EasyFit and many more. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
The business sector has had incredible advances in AI. One solution can show you how AI can streamline your business, introducing efficiencies you never thought possible. You'll save money and time, unlock new growth avenues, and you'll be keeping up with the rest of the business community. With AI and One Solution, you can innovate, optimize, and excel across every facet of your business. One Solution will show you how. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner.
$20,000. Sounds awesome, yeah? Imagine winning it! Edwardstown Mazda and only Edwardstown Mazda is giving you the chance to win $20,000. Buy a new, demo or used car from Edwardstown Mazda during their incredible 2024 plate clearance sale and you're in the draw. Why would you go anywhere else? Your dream Mazda and $20,000?
It's gotta be
Edwardstown Mazda, the #1 destination for Mazda in SA. T's and C's apply. T24/1786.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
27 minutes after 7. Fascinating chat in the sports show last night. The AFL draft is tomorrow night, and it feels like, Scott Camberelli's part of the family here at 5AA, and his family is playing a big role in the draft. His two boys slated to go to Carlton, father-son, twins. Both of them were on the show last night with Rowie and Timmy G ahead of what'll probably be the biggest week in their young professional lives.
What is it like, though, thinking that you get the opportunity to play together? I think that's probably the exciting thing. It's not every day that you get that opportunity and not to be separated. We saw the King brothers get separated, one Gold Coast, one Saints and the like, so this is a bit rare, isn't it?
Yeah, it's special, definitely. Obviously, you grow up in each other's pockets, and sort of the opportunity to play together is something you do throughout juniors, but to hopefully potentially do it on the big stage one day would be pretty cool.
And when did you first sort of get indicated that, Carlton would do this? Because it is a big commitment by them as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty recent when we nominated, obviously. Obviously, had all the testing and stuff to do and finished playing foot, which obviously was the main thing we had to stick to. But, it was about, a couple of weeks ago now, and they said that they nominate us and we nominate back, which is exciting. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen on the night, but, it'd be pretty unreal.
How cool is that? Campo must just be so proud.
It was always funny. We'd come in to call Crows games, and Campo's the consummate professional. And frankly, you could have one arm tied behind his back, and he'd blindfold one of his eyes, and he'd still give better analysis than anyone else in football because he just knows the game so well, and he's got an ability to communicate it to the average football fan in a way that is unique. But on the days his boys were playing under 18s. He was a different man. He was a cat on a hot tin roof. He'd be out in the kitchen watching the game sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Then after the game, he'd be calling back and forth. How'd you go? How you feeling? It was nice to see, this hardcore footy analyst, but / parent at the same time, going through all the sort of normal parenting emotions and watching his boys now make their way into the professional footballing environment that he so excelled at.
He was out of footy at my older son's school. Yeah. And all the boys just loved him, and he had a really, really good relationship with them, like real no nonsense, and this isn't a school that's exactly got a sort of Ross Trevor style footballing pedigree. I'm sure they wouldn't mind me saying that, but he threw himself into it, and all the boys responded to it really well.
So wishing them all the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over there in Victoria. 5AA News is coming up. Keep the text coming in. Lots of good debate coming through on the text line. Dutton's a third-generation family-owned dealership with over 7 years' experience. Dutton's, they're easy to do business with, or you can leave your thoughts on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. We're talking federal politics next with Phil Curry in Canberra.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
25 and sunny today. With the 7:30 news, I'm Graham Goodings.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extra's Holistic Care. PhysioExtra.com.
2 teenagers are on life support in Thailand suffering suspected methanol poisoning. The 19-year-old women were at a backpackers hostel in Laos when they consumed a spiked drink. 2 others have died and at least 10 are in hospital after consuming the drink. Reporter Christina Hearn says the women's families are by their side.
The parents flew, as you can imagine, straight away to Thailand to be by their bedside. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade say they are providing consular assistance to the 2 Australians and their families.
The federal opposition says the first rollout of cash from the National Reconstruction Fund has taken far too long. The government body is giving $40 million to a Queensland-based mining technology company. The spending comes more than a year after the NRF was first established. Deputy Liberal leader Susan Lee says it's too slow.
Industry policy has been a complete shambles under this government. It's a failure, a complete failure from a government that promised to rebuild manufacturing but delivered a tripling in manufacturing insolvencies, promised cheaper mortgages, cost of living coming down, and all we can see is pain all around us.
There's been an early morning house fire at Davern Park. Just before 4 a.m, police and MFS crews were called to Hambridge Road. Senior Constable Matt Brown has told David and Will the occupants at home were evacuated and there have been no reports of serious injury.
Police suspect the fire was deliberately lit. Anyone who may have witnessed the incident is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
A police officer has been left with minor injuries after being dragged by a car in Port Pirie. Around 6 last night, a stolen car was spotted driving erratically, swerving and hitting parked cars and fences. The driver refused to stop for patrols, which led to a brief pursuit, but when a police car was hit, the chase was terminated. When the car was spotted a short time later in a car park, a male officer reached through the open window and grabbed the keys, but he was dragged by the vehicle before it came to a stop. A 40-year-old woman has been charged with a number of offences and will face court today. Trade relations have been the focus of talks between the Prime Minister and the Chinese President. The leaders held their third official meeting on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Brazil. Anthony Albanese says stabilising Australia's relationship with China is in the interests of both countries.
Trade is flowing more freely to the benefit of both countries and to people and businesses on both sides.
The peak body for businesses is warning households could face lower living standards without urgent action to increase productivity. Productivity levels have fallen to their lowest level in 60 years. A Business Council report suggests the federal government needs to slash taxes and reconsider industrial relations changes to boost the economy. Chief Executive Brand Black says changes need to be made sooner rather than later.
We've got to make sure that we're productive so that we can guarantee our quality of life for our kids and their kids. There are so many different levers that we need to pull in this regard, but because arresting our decline with respect to productivity is difficult, it's important that we start to pull those levers now.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
And now here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Nathan McSweeney's had to fend off a barrage of quick bowling from Mitchell Starc, Pat Cummins and Josh Hazlewood in a heated session ahead of Friday's first test against India. The 25-year-old South Australian will make his debut, opening the batting with Usman Khawaja. All-rounder Mitch Marsh telling Wide World of Sports there's a sense of excitement around his inclusion in the team.
I guess the onus on us trying to make it really special for him, welcoming him into the group and, just letting him relax and enjoy every moment of it. So, ripping kid, think he's a really good cricketer and looking forward to seeing how he goes.
Meantime, Australia has defeated Pakistan by 7 wickets in the third T20 in Tasmania to secure a series clean sweep. The NBL will await explanations from Montrezl Harrell and Kendrick Davis following a fiery finish to the match against Melbourne United on Sunday. There are now claims of racist slurs being directed from fans who were embroiled in the heated exchange. Rafael Nadal says he will not be distracted by emotion as he aims to help Spain win the Davis Cup in what will be his final tournament of his illustrious career. The 22-time Grand Slam winner says his mind is on playing for his country.
All focus on what we have to do, that is play tennis and do it very well, because the rival's going to be difficult and the conditions are difficult too. So then the emotion's going to be for the end, and before and during needs to be focused on what we need to do.
And Graham, that is the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Morning there. She's looking pretty good on the road today. We're accident breakdown free, which is excellent. Still wrapping up the Adelaide 500, so a few road closures around the east end of the city. But good news though, Bartels Road is open at the moment. Works at Hallicove to look out for, Lonsdale Road near Perry Bar Road, and got a camera Blacktop Road at Gould Creek this morning. The King Black November sale ends soon. Save up to 60% on selected furniture designs. Hurry, sale ends soon. Shop online or visit a King Living showroom today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Sunny today, 25, then getting warmer. Tomorrow, sunny, 29. Thursday, mostly sunny, 34. Friday, partly cloudy, 37. Currently, it's 15. More news as it happens on 5AA.
I'll grab a few people I know. We'll mark out some places to go. There's no invitation, just a destination, and that's the best freedom I know. Jump in the Jayco. Jump in the Jayco. Yeah, that's the best freedom I know.
Summer's on the way. Beat the rush and organise your Walco pool blanket now. Keep your pool clean, warm and reduce evaporation. Uncover the savings with a Walco pool blanket. Visit walco.com.au.
At Hutt Street Centre, there's always room at their table, especially at this time of year. Christmas can be the most difficult time for someone experiencing homelessness, but you can change that by sponsoring a seat.
Now, we are huge fans of the Hutt Street Centre. Needless to say, we partner up with them every year for the Undie Drive. They do great work for people experiencing homelessness. And look, their Christmas appeal, it's so important. When you sponsor a seat at their table, you bring someone the joy of community, the warmth of a holiday meal and the feeling of belonging.
This Christmas, help ensure a seat at the table for everyone who needs it. Support the Hutt Street Centre today. Visit and donate at huttstreetcentre.org.au.
New roof, free gutters, free downpipes. Get free gutters and free downpipes when you replace your roof with Roof and Render SA. It's a genuine offer. We haven't increased the price to cover costs. Times are a little tough, so if we can help with free gutters and downpipes when we replace your roof, we'll do it. New roof, free gutters, free downpipes. This month with Roof and Render SA. T's and C's apply. Google Roof and Render SA for more.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. We're helping life flow.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Good afternoon, passengers. Please have your boarding pass and identification ready.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Phil Curry's in Rio, our federal political correspondent at the G20, with the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who is in fact speaking at this minute, which means Phil can't speak to us. This is the thing about having access to the biggest and best political reporters in the country.
Do you reckon Albo sort of winced a bit when he said, so where's this G20? It's like, oh, it's in Copacabana.
Well, that's close to home.
Specifically in Copacabana.
Not that Copacabana.
It's a big beach, Copacabana. He's somewhere in Rio de Janeiro.
He's there at the moment. Obviously, G20 trade's been on the agenda. Big. One of the things that was discussed was our relationship with China. It feels like it's all love and cuddles at the moment between the Prime Minister and Xi Jinping.
Yeah.
First, he endorsed him last week and said more leaders need to be like him, and then overnight they spoke about the mutual benefit of free trade and how it helps both of our countries. Let's have a listen to a little bit of what the Prime Minister's saying right now.
We have engaged once again in Australia's national interest because the outcomes here will support jobs at home and economic activity in Australia. That's why our engagement is important. 1 in 4 of Australian jobs is trade dependent, and therefore our engagement here has been very much focused on what is in Australia's national interest, how does our contribution and participation here at this summit, following on from the APEC summit, assist Australians. This morning I was very pleased to join our host, Brazil's President Lula, at the launch of the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, and made a contribution to the plenary debate that occurred here this morning. The global economy, as people mentioned as well, is being impacted by the ongoing Russian war in the Ukraine, as well as conflict in the Middle East, conflict in Sudan, conflict in a lot of places around the world. And when you have this conflict, it has an economic impact as well as a humanitarian impact.
The G20 is effectively the primary economic forum for conversation globally. So it features 19 sovereign entities and then the European Union, and I think there's a voice for the African Union that features sometimes as well. But effectively, if there's any...
So it's like the economic version of the United Nations.
It is. That's a really good way of putting it. Right. It's sort of the way you nut out global inflation, for example, if there's an issue, what can we all do cooperative to work on it? How are we feeling about trade relationships at the moment. Our country's being richer or poorer on the basis of our policies and so forth. This is the forum where that all gets discussed specifically.
It feels like the world is at a really weird crossroads now since Trump has been elected, and we still don't know in Australia if, as one of America's closest allies and a formal strategic partner with the US through AUKUS, but are we going to be exempt from Trump's tariff war? So, and apparently one of the guys who's most likely to be his Treasury Secretary is of the view, apparently, there's 4 guys in the running. Apparently most of them think, no, we don't do any favours for anyone. If there's a trade imbalance, we'll put a tariff on it. So I don't know what that means for us. Is it meat? Is it grain?
Probably.
Could it even be wine again? Who knows? But, I mean, who knows? It could be anything. Unless they carve Australia out and say... So we're now in this position where we are trying to make sure that in the Trump era, AUKUS still survives, yet what we're seeing in terms of our economic security is an even greater emphasis on the now improved relationship with China as a potential sort of economic bulwark against blowback from our closest ally in terms of trade. Like, it's crazy, isn't
it's
it?
weird to think 2 years ago, imagine a scenario where we had a better trade relationship with China than the United States. You'd say, well, the world's spun off its axis. I don't believe...
But it might happen.
I don't really believe that the most dramatic version of this is going to materialise. I don't think it's in the US best interest. If you think of it in terms of an international relations sense, pushing an ally like us in this part of the world where we're hugely important for the United States, just geographically based on where we are, closer to China just wouldn't be smart.
It happened when Bush was president, though.
Well, it happened at the start of Trump as well. We had to fight to get better
through the WTO.
That's right. We had to fight. So yeah, look, it could well happen, but I just strategically it would seem to be mightily stupid. But we'll see ultimately how that plays out. Speaking of the cruise theme that we played a moment ago, not suggesting the Prime Minister cruised to Rio de Janeiro, but Geraldine might be cruising to Singapore. She just called in and was the first person to get through to Sam and Lucy, having heard the boarding call a moment ago. Geraldine, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will and David.
How are you there, Geraldine? You must be excited. Would this be your first cruise, or are you a bit of a seasoned professional?
No, I've done one cruise to Vanuatu.
Oh, beautiful.
But other than that, I haven't been overseas, so it would be exciting if I was lucky enough.
Oh, wow. Was that the trip to Vanuatu? Was that your only overseas trip?
That's my own. I had to get a passport. I didn't even have a passport.
Is it still current, Geraldine? You might have to get another one if you win this. Oh, okay. Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
They've gone up a lot, like everything.
Oh, yes. So, that was before COVID, and then... Yes, haven't travelled. Yeah. So it'll be wonderful.
Yeah, well, all the very best of luck, Geraldine. Good on you.
You are on the short list. There's another spot still available on the program for after 8 o'clock. Silversea Luxury Cruising and Phil Hoffman Travel, creating moments you'll never forget. Visit phd.com.au. I think the Prime Minister's still speaking, so I don't like our chances of catching up with Phil Curry, unfortunately, this morning. We will chat with him again and get the fallout from the Prime Minister's appearance at the G20 in Rio de Janeiro.
He'll be flat out, because now these days, like, you don't just sort of sit back and wait until your newspaper deadline rolls around. He'll have to file live online for afr.com.au and get the news story up in record time. So get those fingers flying, Curry.
All right, we're going to check traffic. We've got a jury trial to convene on the other side of the break, and it's going to be about the Riverbank Lights display. Effectively, it boils down to whether you're a fan of it or not. That's coming up right after the break. We're putting Christmas on trial. Traffic first, though.
Thanks, Will. Accident breakdown free this morning, so she's looking really good for the driving today. A little busy as we speak as you're coming in on North East Road through Vale Park. And look out for those road delays and detours still around the east end of the city for the Adelaide 500. But good news, though, Bartel was right open this morning. And got works at Hallett Cove, Lonsdale Road near Perry Bar Road. Early morning, Canberra, Bridge Road, Salisbury East. Driveway GWM Havel Jolian from just $23,990 with 5-star ANCAP safety and a 7-year warranty. Limited time only at your GWM dealer. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Have you seen the stunning new sign at NRG Solar's relocated office in St Mary's? It's not just a sign, it's a beacon of sustainability. As leaders in solar solutions, NRG Solar's commitment to innovation shines bright. Their new warehouse is fully stocked with a stunning range of wholesale solar and battery equipment. See it for yourself, 1275 South Road, St Mary's, or visit nrgsolar.com.au for a sustainable future. That's nrgsolar.com.au.
Are you an event space, like a wedding venue, sports club or restaurant? Are you fed up with using plastic trestle tables that don't line up properly, that have bung legs and slanting tabletops, that take your event space from a 10 to an 8? At Scott's Custom Furniture, we craft sturdy, stable and level trestle tables made from beautiful Australian timber. They're so nice, using a tablecloth feels wrong. Just search for Scott's Custom Furniture and get in touch today. Scott's Custom Furniture. Trestles to last a lifetime.
Bye, darling. I love you.
Goodbye, mate.
Bye, Dad.
At Centennial Park, we understand the life-changing experience of saying goodbye to a loved one. Whether their preference was burial or cremation, our memorial options are designed to help you reflect on, reconnect with, and remember your loved one. And most importantly, ensure your goodbyes aren't final. Find out about our memorial options at centennialpark.org.
It all started with a pen and paper 35 years ago. Lots of ideas and a ton of innovation. Nothing's changed. Beechwood Homes is still building stunning bespoke homes right across South Australia. Under construction right now is another Beechwood Homes masterpiece at Blackwood Park. This new display home will showcase Beechwood's dedication to cutting-edge design, craftsmanship and innovation. If you can dream it, Beechwood Homes can build it. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
When you're gone, who gets the things most precious to you? Like your grandfather's war medals, or your mother's cherished piano that was passed down to you. If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, Donlan Lawyers will give effect to your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour. DonlanLawyers.com.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberry and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
11 minutes to 8. It's time for a trial by jury.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
It's time to get Christmas-related jury trial happening. 1 month to Christmas, of course. This weekend, Sunday's the 24th, so effectively 1 month to Christmas. So a couple of things start happening. Christmas trees, live Christmas trees are on sale in the Adelaide Hills. The Riverbank Lights display starts as well. Moby the whale, the Wantaway whale. This
is the one that drifted off to sea, isn't it?
Drifted out to sea or tried to escape, depending on your perspective.
Beached itself on Port Road.
It was back in position yesterday.
Keep it wet.
For the jury this morning, get calling now, 8223 0000. We're asking you, the Riverbank Lights display, is it legendary or lame? Legendary or lame?
As a South Australian, Will, can you even call it lame? Is that like saying, the actual truth, i.e. frog cakes taste like crap? Or are we all duty-bound as South Australians to be unyieldingly parochial about everything? This is
why, again, David, we have the anonymity of the jury.
Well, that's true.
So you don't have your South Australian credentials revoked.
I reckon it's so lame there's a chance that Cozzy might try to save it.
8223 0000. Riverbank Lights display, West End Brewery, the old West End Brewery.
Because he saves the mangy falling apart Santa.
Yep.
That's back.
That's right. That's back.
Actually, I must admit, they've done a pretty good spruce-up job on Santa.
My daughter was so excited when we drove past that. She just we're driving past it and she starts, Father Christmas, Father Christmas! I almost swerved. I thought I'm going to kill a Father Christmas, but she just saw the giant one looming over the vehicle.
Staggering out of the metro.
We have a Wallace double pass for one of our jurors. So jurors, get calling now, 8223 0000. The Riverbank Lights display, is it lame or is it legendary?
It's easy for you. You go there every night if you want, after work at TV Land.
You know what?
Walk over the road.
Do you know what I think's lame about it? What it used to be when I was a kid, you rolled up and you saw the lights. Now there's Ferris wheels, there's merry-go-rounds, there's food trucks.
Donuts.
I think if you're going to take it seriously, your focus should be squarely on Thor's hammer.
Yeah,
Like, you don't need to be...
more. Some of the displays predate World War II. Like there's that, that weightlifter guy. It looks like something you see in a Simpsons episode, doesn't it?
82230000.
Something you'd make for a school project.
Is it
I've made my own volcano.
Is it lame or legendary? Juror number 1. Remember, everyone's anonymous, so
go your hardest.
Go your hardest. Juror number 1. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I love the volcano man and the little noise and the little sparks that used to come off his hammer.
Yeah.
I used to get so excited.
Well, that's good.
Thank you, Juror number 1.
That's an impassioned too. Yeah, impassioned defence.
On the Dutton's text line, someone says legendary. The lights display is legendary. 82230000. One of our callers is going to get a Wallace Cinemas double pass. Juror number 2, lame or legendary?
It's legendary. It's part of that South Australia's history. Everyone goes. Everyone loves it. People that come from overseas are taken there. So we need to keep what is ours and protect it.
Good on you, Juror number 2.
Yeah, well, everything's changing in
Juror
that.
number 2 sounded a bit like Stacey, I reckon.
Hey. We can't go
She won't
identifying
mind.
jurors, unless, of course, they win the Wallace Cinemas double pass.
Juror number 2 loves Christmas, and
yes,
you will recall she made those wonderful reindeer biscuits and brought them in for our children.
I don't know
last
if it
year.
was Stacey or not, but she's
Might have been Stacey.
superb.
Who knows?
Juror number 3, good morning.
Juror number 3.
Hello?
Yes, Juror
Hello?
number 3. Yes, we've got you.
Oh, hello. I'm going to go with lame. I absolutely loved it when I was a kid, and I was so excited to take my children back there 2 years ago, and it was crap.
Thank you, Juror number 3.
That's harsh, but well put.
Juror number, a concise verdict. Juror number 4, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you, Juror.
Excellent. Why can't it be both?
Hey, that's a good point.
Make the case, Juror number 4.
Oh, well, absolutely. It's legendary, but the older you get, you realise how much, you realise how lame it actually is, but it still remains legendary.
Yeah. I think
I
there's
reckon
something in that.
There's that's the argument in the defence of the Murray Bridge bunyip.
Yes.
Like, that thing is, I love it. But it sort of looks like a giant sort of tube with green hair. But there's something about it. You just, every time you're in Murray Bridge, it's like, we've got to go and see the bunyip now.
A lot of people on the Dutton's text line are saying the same thing. In fact, Penny and Catherine, within 60 seconds of each other, posted this. Penny said legendarily lame. And Catherine says it's so lame, it's legendary.
Yeah. It's an excellent point.
They were terrific jurors. Juror 1, 2, 3, or 4. Who receives
I reckon
the Wallace
we'll
double
give
pass?
it for making that excellent point. I think juror number 4 deserves the chocolates.
Yeah, I think that was good. And yet another
What
one.
happens now that there's no brewery there? I actually reckon in 10 years' time, we're going to have a situation where it will be people of northern Brompton against Riverbank Sounds. They'll be complaining about the...
Well, it's run by the council now.
Well, you're trying to get to sleep at night, and there's Thor with his hammer going hammer and tongs all night. Drive you mad. I paid $1 million for this 3-bedroom apartment.
So City of West Torrens owns the lights display.
Can't get a park. All these people coming to look at the whale.
Hang on. Isn't City of West Torrens the Theberton, the action group?
Well, yeah.
Oh, they're going to set their sights on Thor. And
Yeah, that's right. Thor's keeping me up all
Father
night.
Christmas. Can't have a bloke banging a hammer in a volcano.
Well, it is going
on
to
a
be it's
weeknight.
going to be residential.
Thank you. A lot of great Dutton's texts on the have come through.
Sorry if I upset any bunyip lovers out there.
Someone said I haven't seen it in my 58 years. 58 years of living in Adelaide, haven't seen the Riverbank Lights display.
No, we used to go every year as kids. We've taken the kids a few times. Now I really want to go. We should go together. Well, I'll meet you there after you've read the news.
I'll give you a car park, actually. We work
You're
out
probably
very
getting
convenient.
excited because it's almost carol time.
Oh, yeah, I've got my tux picked out. And you know me, I love getting dressed up.
It's a good lineup. Natalie Bassingthwaite is at it.
Yes.
She's good.
They're all excellent.
What was that band called? Rogue Traders?
Yep.
Yeah. Probably not doing Rogue Traders songs on the night.
In fact, your musical know-how, I think you're better positioned to host this than I am. I'm not,
Mate, seriously.
I might suggest...
That is the mother of all hospital passes.
I might suggest a switcheroo. I know a guy who really knows about all the acts. Much better than I do.
You didn't know she was on until I told you that, did you?
You know me. If anyone's full bottle on all the famous musicians, it's definitely me. All right, 3 minutes to 8. So many great Duttons texts. We might just take a break and get to some more of those shortly. Duttons, a third-generation family-owned dealership with over 70 years' experience. Duttons, they are easy to do business with. Coming up in the next hour of the program, another boarding call for our cruise ship competition, thanks to the great people at Phil Hoffman Travel, so stay listening for that. Speaking of travel, we're going to take you to Baku, Azerbaijan. It's where the Premier is at the moment, trying to bid for us to get the next COP conference, and it's a remarkable place. Wanted to chat with someone who's been there. We'll do that after 8:50.
You know how many people are at this climate conference?
Oh,
it's unbelievable.
Well, he made the point yesterday, the Premier, that it will make Gather Round look like some sort of very small event.
What's the carbon footprint, though, of everyone getting to Baku to talk about saving the planet?
Seems to be irrelevant. Oddly.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that also after 8 o'clock. We're going to try and get in touch with the AMA to talk about their concerns with regard to the lacing of drugs at schoolies, and Mark Morey, the crime reporter at the Daily Telegraph, about the allegations and investigation into Alan Jones. That's all ahead on 5AA Breakfast.
Black Friday at Adelaide Appliance Gallery is just around the corner, and we've got some excellent deals to celebrate, like 20% off selected Smeg appliances, 20% off Portofino and Victoria, 15% off Lanier and Dolce Stil Novo, 10% off Fab, Sapphire and Diamond dishwashers, as well as 10% off Fab and integrated refrigeration. With offers this good, some terms, conditions and exclusions apply. Call into 155 Paynham Road, St Peters and pick up a Black Friday special, or visit adelaideappliancegallery.com.au.
Join over 60,000 Adelaide homes and say yes to lowering your energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. Do you know how much that old fridge in the shed is adding to your electricity bill? Your energy saving solutions can collect your old inefficient fridges and freezers for free, and the best part is that you can also get up to $150 per unit. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from your energy saving solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's YESS.net.au.
Next time you pour Fluorio milk into your coffee or tea, over your cereal or in your smoothie, you're closer to being an SA dairy farmer than you think. 100% of Fluorio Co milk comes from our state's best dairy farmers and their families. So when you buy any Fluorio milk product, you become part of that big family too, doing your bit to support our farming families. Look for the local in your supermarket. Fluorio Milk Company. We're for SA dairy farmers.
If you're packing up your family to travel across the land will treat you different in a Dave Benson caravan.
Here at DBC, it's the end zone of our $500,000 sale. With hotter deals than ever, ample stock and on-site manufacturers helping us crunch the numbers hard. Ending in a massive 3-day blitz as we team up with Electric Bug and Barbecue Adelaide for on-site bargains. Thursday 29 to Saturday November 30. Get on in today, because the best bargains of the year are only here at Dave Benson Caravans.
The very latest news and information. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
25 and sunny today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Graham Goodings.
Keep in shape with physio-instructed clinical Pilates and gym classes at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
Travellers are being warned to be wary when sourcing alcohol overseas after a spate of hospitalisations in Thailand. 2 Australians are fighting for life after consuming drinks believed to have contained methanol. It's understood 2 other travellers have died and at least a dozen more people are being treated after drinking the tainted alcohol. Forensic pathologist Professor David Ranson has told Today it should serve as a warning.
The trouble with methanol is that it's colourless, odourless, tasteless. It acts just like alcohol in its initial stages until it starts getting metabolised to these poisons. So you'd have to be really careful about the source of the drinks. But it is very difficult, and to stay safe probably means you want branded alcohol.
An early morning house fire at Davern Park is suspected to have been deliberately lit. Police and MFS crews were called to Hambridge Road just before 4 a.m. Senior Constable Matt Brown has told David and Will anyone who may have witnessed the incident is asked to contact Crime Stoppers.
Occupants of the property were evacuated while fire crews battled the blaze. The fire was extinguished soon after and there were no reports of any serious injuries.
The National Reconstruction Fund is delivering its first cash grant 2.5 years after being established. $40 million will be given to a Queensland-based mining technology company. Industry and Science Minister Ed Husick says it's about ensuring Australian businesses don't head offshore.
We think that Australia should be a country that makes things. The NRF is playing a vital part backing the growth of Australia's manufacturing capabilities. And in key areas of sovereign capability, we've got to be able to stand on our own 2 feet. We've got the talented workers in Australian firms. Now they need the investment to grow, and that's what the NRF does.
A health warning ahead of Schoolies Week. AMA South Australian Chief Dr. John Williams says fake pills being sold as organic ecstasy could have a deadly outcome. He says school leavers celebrating at Victor next week could be offered what they think is MDMA. In reality, it could be a drug containing nitazines, which are up to 50 times more potent than fentanyl. A delegation is heading to Singapore with the aim of promoting the South Australian distilling industry. Distillers SA is leading the group of 6 local producers to showcase their award-winning gin, whiskey, brandy, vermouth and liqueurs for Singaporean importers and consumers. Minister for Trade and Investment Joe Sockarch says our distillers have been producing world-class spirits for some time.
Singapore is the world's largest importer of spirits at over $3 billion a year. So the government is directly supporting this trade mission. We're directly supporting efforts to enter and grow in the world's greatest and most important import market for spirit.
President-elect Donald Trump will declare a national emergency and deploy the military if that's what it takes to carry out deportation of illegal immigrants. US correspondent Reed Butler.
It was one of the reasons he swept to victory, and now this confirmation from the man himself, President-elect Donald Trump, saying he will bring in the military and declare a national emergency to undertake mass deportations. This came out on a late-night post on Truth Social. It is a big step, especially for the military, which doesn't normally take part with domestic law enforcement issues. Why is this on the cards? Well, Trump's election-winning deportation plan is expensive, and a national emergency declaration unlocks Pentagon resources.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
And now here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Preparations will continue for the first test today between Australia and India, with South Aussie Nathan McSweeney drawing much of the attention as he gets set to open the batting. Meantime, Australia's T20 side enjoyed a 7-wicket win against Pakistan in their third and final T20 clash in Hobart, the Aussies sweeping the series 3-0. Well, the Socceroos want to flip the script against Bahrain in their crucial World Cup qualifier. Australia lost 1-0 when the two countries played earlier this year. Coach Tony Popovic says they have the belief they can win after a draw with Saudi Arabia last week.
We want to take that confidence and the football we played into the game tomorrow. We understand how important the match is. We want to show the respect Bahrain deserve, but we also want to play with the confidence and belief that we can win.
Meantime, in UEFA Nations League matches this morning, it's approaching full time. Poland and Scotland locked at 1-1, while it's also 1-1 between Croatia and Portugal. Spain, meantime, is 2-1 up against Switzerland. Well, after putting the sport of canoe slalom on the map, the Fox sisters, Jess and Naomi, have picked up the highest honour available from Sport Australia. They've won the coveted The Don Award, their haul of 3 Olympic gold medals, judged to have been the year's most inspiring act for the nation. 6 athletes, including surfer Mick Fanning, hurdler Sally Pearson and supercars legend Mark Scaife, have all been inducted into the Hall of Fame. Well, as part of the Formula One attempts to reduce carbon emissions, the Canadian Grand Prix will be held in late May instead of June from 2026. Next season will start in Melbourne ahead of races in China and Japan. And one game in the NFL later this morning to complete Week 11 with the Houston Texans set to take on the Dallas Cowboys. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Morning, yeah, busy this morning for the drive in North East Road through Clemsing Vale Park. A little bit sluggish South Road at Karauta Park, and also slow around the east end of the city as they wrap up the road closures for the Adelaide 500. But good news, Bartels Road is open this morning. Look out for works at Angle Park, South Road near Green Junction Road. Early morning camera, Kelly Road at Modbury Heights. Planning to knock down and rebuild? Get leading designs, guaranteed build times, and all the right expertise at Burbank. Search Burbank Homes, BLD 266709. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Warming up all week. Sunny today, 25. Tomorrow, sunny, 29. Thursday, mostly sunny, 34. Then Friday, partly cloudy, 37. Currently, it's 16. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 8. Just like to broadcast an apology to all the fans of Vulcan. I mischaractered him.
Oh, it's not Thor.
It's not Thor.
It's Vulcan.
It's Vulcan at the Riverbank Lights display.
Who's Thor?
Thor was
the Norse god of something?
He's a Norse god of thunder or lightning or something.
Vulcan.
Vulcan is the one that's at the Riverbank Lights display.
They named the heaters after Vulcan.
Apologies.
Vulcan.
A lot of big Vulcan fans. Turns out in the Dutton Sticks. Thank you to all those who texted in.
Don't want to get your gods mixed up.
Exactly right.
No,
exactly right.
Don't
anger the old gods.
Exactly.
8 after 8, breaking 8 coming up in just a moment. Then after 8:30 this morning, we're going to take you to Azerbaijan. Baku is the capital. It's where the COP is going on at the moment, where the Premier is trying to attract interest in hosting this huge climate event here in South Australia in the future. So it's one of the more unique places on Earth. We were talking about it yesterday. We're going to talk more about it in just a moment.
It's like the Greta Thunberg version of Gather Round.
It is the Greta Thunberg version of Gather Round. That's right.
People want to get together.
All the Greta Thunbergs gather round.
Rejoice in their paranoia.
Yeah, all the Hollywood stars.
That's right.
You know.
We'll get a few celebs here.
Yeah, they all...
Doesn't Leonardo DiCaprio turn up?
They all pay for hotel beds, so good luck to him.
Sure, he's got one eye on saving the planet and, another on something completely different.
He's got some concerns at the moment.
Keeping himself entertained of an evening.
Alan Jones is facing a raft of serious charges. We've been talking about it over the course of the morning. Just a huge story. Some more details of which came out yesterday. We're going to chat with Mark Murray, a long-time crime reporter at the Daily Telegraph. He's coming up in about the next 10 minutes on 5AA Breakfast, so stick around for that. Right now, though, it's time for Breaking at 8.
Well, today in Breaking at 8, we're going to do something which, frankly, the media doesn't do enough of, and I include us in that. The parlous state of healthcare in regional and rural South Australia is often overlooked, nowhere more so than in the area of mental health. And obviously, country people, unlike city people, face a hell of a lot of mental health challenges that we are sort of immune to here in the city. The biggest one is probably weather. You'll remember a few months ago we had the chat with a bunch of farmers about the lack of rain and how that was manifesting itself in huge pressure for people living on the land. Well, in a sort of public policy health sense, though, it's our understanding that there are real problems in terms of mental health care at the moment through psychologists because people are having their clients are having their Medicare rebates rejected, which means that they now have to pay the full fee to see their psychologists, and as a result, there's evidence that people who are mentally unwell are just cancelling their appointments on financial grounds, placing themselves at risk. We're joined now by Dr. Amanda Jones, who is a psychologist in Cleve, just down from Whyalla there on the Eyre Peninsula, who's got first-hand experience of this problem. Dr. Rogers, thank you so much for... it's Dr. Rogers, isn't it? Not I said Dr. Jones, but I should have said Dr. Rogers. My apologies.
No, that's correct. It's Rogers.
Rogers, Dr. Rogers. Can you walk us through the situation in Cleve? Because as I've been discussing it with the Shadow Minister for Mental Health, Penny Pratt, it really does sound like a terrible situation.
It is, and I really appreciate you covering this on the media because, as you say, I think often regional and remote mental health in particular gets ignored. And there's just so many challenges that people are facing out here, as you say. And I didn't want to speak to the media, but I felt that I really needed to speak up on behalf of people from these impacted communities. And so, as you say, since May or June this year, all mental health care clients from the impacted towns are having their Medicare rebates rejected. And, yeah, we're trying to investigate why, and we're also trying to get action by the government.
So what happens, Dr. Rogers, when these people find out that they're going to have to pay, full tote odds for a consult with a professional like you? Is it the sort of economic reality is that they just go, well, I can't afford it, so I'm just not going to go? Is that what's happening?
Well, there's a range of reactions. So, for some people, they need to access those services anyway, and so that becomes a priority, but it places financial strain on them. For other people, they feel very disempowered. They even potentially feel targeted by the government. Why is every other Australian receiving this Medicare rebate and I can't?
Yeah.
For others, so an option might be that they need to travel 300 kilometres to go and see an alternative GP so that they can get a valid mental health care plan, which we're talking a lot of disadvantaged Australians here. We're talking women in domestic violence situations. We're talking children, teenagers, Indigenous people, people with disabilities. They may not be able to make that trip. We're talking the elderly, and as you've said, we're also talking farmers who are experiencing a really bad year. And so it is a very difficult decision for them to decide what to do.
Yeah, sure. Now, I understand you've been banging your head on a brick wall a bit trying to get any attention on this issue. I've been told you've contacted the Premier, you've contacted the Federal Health Minister, Mark Butler, you've contacted the State Health Minister, Chris Picton, I understand, on 2 occasions. You've contacted the Mental Health Coalition and also the Chief Psychiatrist, and you haven't really had any success with any of them.
No, nothing satisfactory. So Chris Picton's office contacted me, but that was very unsatisfactory. Basically, it's a political football, and it's been passed between the federal and the state government, and it's been ongoing for over 5 months. And I guess the consistent messaging that I've received over the past month is that we're having meetings and that there should be an outcome in the coming weeks.
Yeah, right, but still nothing. What would be the solution in your eyes, Dr. Rogers?
I'm a clinical psychologist, so I'm not a politician, and so it's absolutely up to the politicians.
Well, maybe you can give them an idea. You're probably better qualified than they are.
It's up to them to do their job so that I can get on and do my job and treat people with mental health issues in these rural and remote communities. I think what I'm hearing is that they could apply for an exemption, that it's up to the state government to apply for an exemption through the federal government.
What's it like working in Cleve? I was just looking at Cleve on Google Maps. I must admit, I think I only drove through there once on the way to Ceduna or somewhere, but looks like a little dot on the map. But you must have a busy practice servicing such a vast expanse of South Australia.
It is. So I service the whole of the Eyre Peninsula, and the Eyre Peninsula, if people haven't visited, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a lovely place to live, and it is busy. I wish there were 3 of me sometimes.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, hopefully by speaking out, we'll get a bit of attention on this very important issue. Dr. Amanda Rogers from Cleve, thanks so much for joining us today for Breaking at 8.
Thank you very much.
It is real out of sight, out of mind what happens in the bush, isn't it?
Oh, when it comes to healthcare, mental health care as well.
And uniquely challenging circumstances too, I think.
Well, unique around the world. It's such totally few people spread out over such a wide expanse.
Yeah,
there's no sort of model for it. I don't think in terms of we're giving our public health care. No, we're trying to do stuff. That's why the Royal Flying Doctor Service was an innovation developed in Australia. It's all brought about by necessity, but we need the bureaucratic version of that that solves these sorts of issues.
What about that
fascinating
list of
breaking
all the people that the doctor has contacted, and it's real who's on first phenomenon in the governing of this country, isn't there?
It feels like there's just not enough political capital in fixing a lot of these regional health issues, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, there's too many people in charge of telling you that maybe you need to talk to somebody else.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. They do that well. 16 after 8. Traffic's at a standstill along the north-south motorway this morning. City-bound at Regency Road is down to one lane. That's the cause. Speeds at just 40 k's an hour. If you're in the area, you can give us a buzz and let us know. 8223 0000. Text us on the Duttons text line 0448 08 1395. We're going to check traffic and come back with Mark Morrie from the Daily Telegraph, long-time crime reporter, to give us the inside word on the Alan Jones story. That's next.
Thanks, Will. At Paradise, Carvey Barsundali Road near Gamo Road. Road closures loosening up around the Adelaide 500 now, which is good. Still got a few around the east end of the city, but good news is that Bartels Road is now open. And look out for works this morning at Elizabeth Park, Yorktown Road near Adams Road. Early morning camera at Dalkeith Road at Cutler. The 7-seat Isuzu MUX has all the style and substance to keep you going your right way. Test drive the MUX at your local Isuzu retailer today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Good afternoon, passengers. Please have your boarding pass and identification ready.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
The Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fiasco. It was what I feared. It was an orchestrated exhibition.
It ended up there.
And you could see nobody wanted to hurt anybody. And in the end, I felt like Tyson could have ripped it right several times, but just was playing the game.
The 5AA Sports Show.
I'm embarrassed now because it was embarrassing to watch.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
If you make a living out of being a handy person, it's handy to know that Rollerco has got you covered when it comes to parts for sliding doors and windows. Actually, I'd say you're more than covered. We stock over 3,000 different spare parts, which means you can pop in, get what you need, and get back to it. No messing around. Time's money, right? Rollerco. We'll get you rolling. 26 Jacobson Crescent, Holden Hill. Just 15 minutes from the city.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time, Farrell and O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell and O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell and O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family owned and operated, because it's personal.
Deliver more with Toyota, the world's #1 forklift brand. Choose from a great range including pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
Don't let the sun set on your energy savings. With NRG Solar's cutting-edge batteries, your energy independence lasts long after sunset. Enjoy the freedom of solar, even when you're not home. Experience the future of energy. NRG Solar's new warehouse is fully stocked with wholesale solar and battery equipment. See it for yourself. NRG Solar, 1275 South Road, St Mary's, or call 1300 858 160 to explore a brighter, more sustainable tomorrow.
It can happen at any time, more often than you think. Suddenly, through illness or accident, you could lose the capacity to manage your financial or personal affairs. What happens next? Who makes medical or health decisions? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
20 after 8, we've learnt more about the allegations against broadcaster Alan Jones over the course of the last 24 hours. 8 alleged victims who the police have alleged were indecently assaulted and sexually touched by Alan Jones over a period of some 2 decades. Mark Morrie is who's a crime reporter with the Daily Telegraph, who we used to work with David for a long period of time. We wanted to get a bit of the inside word and get a sense of what the allegations are and what we now know about the case against Alan Jones. He joins us on 5AA Breakfast now. Mark, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
So, Moz, Sydney stories don't really get any bigger than this, do they? It's a huge one.
It really is. I think the whole of Sydney was stunned. Even when the allegations were aired, like earlier this year, I don't think people thought they were really going to go anywhere. So the fact that New South Wales Police picked it up, ran with it, and did an investigation, still, didn't think he'd be charged. So I think, for the last 2 weeks we've been hearing that he was about to be charged. I think that's what prompted police to go ahead and arrest him yesterday.
Mm. The number of charges too, I mean, we're not talking one or two, it's quite significant.
24.
Yeah. And I know how good your police contacts are. I mean, they wouldn't be doing this, for keeping up appearances. They must feel that there's some pretty strong evidence there to lay that many charges.
That's right. They had legal advice last Thursday, which is what prompted them to believe that they had enough evidence to go ahead and charge him. And you're right. They wouldn't have been doing this for political reasons because there was pressure. They believe they have a case. They believe that they have 8 victims who have alleged victims who believe that they have a story to tell, and that's why they've gone ahead and charged. They've been very, very thorough. I know they've interviewed so many different people, taken statements from colleagues and spoken to so many potential witnesses to try and help support their case. So now that'll all start to unfold, hopefully, in the near future.
You know Jones really well, Moz, and we all in Sydney would all, whether we liked it or not, would wake up listening to him ranting and raving about whatever the issue of the day was. Yeah. What do you reckon his mindset would be right now, mate? Do you think he'd be feeling like a sense of persecution, that he's being torn down like a tall poppy or something like that?
Without doubt, as I said, I didn't know him so much as like you knew him through the airwaves, and that's the sense of the character. He would be seething. Apparently, he was quite calm when the police arrived yesterday, but he would have known. As I said, the rumours had been circulating. He would have known that this was coming. But you're right. He will be seething. He will believe that he's been set up, that it is a tall poppy syndrome. That people waited until he was off the airwaves before any of this happened, that he was no longer the force that he was. He'll have a lot of different feelings going through, but one mainly, he'll come out swinging. And it's quite interesting when you talk about Sydney stories. He's gone and got Chris Murphy. Again, that's just, Chris Murphy was one of the most flamboyant, successful lawyers around town, a massive punter, represented bikies. He got some alleged killers off. He was, Mr. Sydney himself when it came to the legal fraternity. Now here he is, himself a little bit older, with Alan Jones, who's 83, and not looking great. So now, how long before we see the inside of a courtroom? Well, we know, you've got high-profile lawyers, and Brian Wrench, who the young solicitor, is very, very capable. Now, I know money does help you. We had a multi-millionaire, Ron Medich, accused of murder. It was 9 years before he got to court and to jail.
That's right.
And I tell you, if you got money, you can delay justice. Or, he could proceed. He's not in great health. So, how long before we see any of these allegations totally aired? In court will be interesting to see.
Mark, in a lot of the reporting, there's reference to a police strike force that I think most of our listeners here would be unfamiliar with. Bonifin, I think it must be.
Yes, that's right.
What do they do, and what do they set up, and what role did they play in this?
Well, that was set up in March when one person alleged that he was indecently assaulted when he was 17 by Alan Jones. Now, that's what started, and that's why it's with the child abuse squad, because a lot of people going, well, all the victims, some of them nearly 50, but that's because it started with them and then spread out. So they would have gone around, and then people were approaching them, from what I can gather, or they would then talk to somebody who had said, well, maybe you should talk to that person. it's kind of like a domino effect once you start investigations like this. So they would have been getting information from all sorts of sources. So, they have 8 alleged victims between 19 years, from 20 to 2019. Now, some of them have met for the first time, according to Assistant Commissioner Mick Fitzgerald yesterday. So they're not all just people that he knows, or some are alleged that he worked with. So it's a variety of alleged victims too, right across the spectrum.
Yeah, and then there's that other remarkable piece by Candy Sutton on the Daily Mail, which I should stress has been hotly denied by Alan Jones, but about that poor young man who took his own life. The number of people allegedly affected by this is not insignificant. And yeah, just a remarkable set of allegations. But as you say, Moz, we'll see what happens when it eventually all gets to court. Yeah, it will be. As I said, he's got his first appearance, and by normal accounts, and that's the other thing. The police were very particular. His lawyer said, "Why wasn't it, arrest by appointment?" Well, the police went to such pains to say, other people accused of similar crimes don't get arrest by appointment. We knock on their door, and that's what they did. So yeah,
they're going straight by the rules. So he should appear on December 18th.
Yeah, he's still in the Toaster building, isn't he? He's still down there near the Opera House.
Yep. Yeah, he's still there. That's where they went. And so, it was never going to be kept quiet. A whole lot of detectives walking in there into the Toaster, right near the Opera House, with people everywhere. It was never going to stay quiet. But he stayed in there while they executed the search warrant, which he had the option to leave straight away with the detectives. Yeah, but he stayed there.
Hey, fascinating chatting to you, Moz. Mark Morrie, and folks, for those of you who want to read all of the coverage, today's Advertiser's got this amazing spread on page 1011 with a separate piece by Mark taking readers inside the work of the New South Wales Police State Crime Command's Child Abuse Squad and how they set up Strike Force Bonifan. It's powerful reading. Thanks so much for joining us, Moz. We'll talk again soon, mate.
No problem. See you later, guys.
At Spotlight's Christmas sale, VIP save 40% off Christmas, including decorations, trees and much more. 40% off rugs, runners and mats, and VIP save 30 to 50% off cookware, so you can make it gifted and be merry. All backed by our bargain guarantee. Sale on now. Exclusions apply. Spotlight, proud sponsor of My Kitchen Rules.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Black Friday at Adelaide Appliance Gallery is just around the corner, and we've got some excellent deals to celebrate, like 20% off selected Smeg appliances, 20% off Portofino and Victoria, 15% off Lanier and Dolce Steel Novo, 10% off Fab, Sapphire and Diamond dishwashers, as well as 10% off Fab and integrated refrigeration. With offers this good, some terms, conditions and exclusions apply. Call into 155 Paynham Road, St Peters and pick up a Black Friday special, or at adelaideappliancegallery.com.au.
Hi, Daniel Talia here, General Manager of Home. That's HAUME. If you're thinking about selling your home and it's in our price range, we'll buy it. Forget spending thousands getting your home ready for sale. We'll offer you market value right now. And the settlement can be up to 12 months if you like, which gives you loads of flexibility. That's how easy it is. To get in touch with us today, visit home.com.au and remember HAUME.com.au. At Home, we buy homes.
Over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. What's keeping you? Did you know that you might be eligible for a rebate on a new appliance like a dryer or fridge? You might even qualify for a purchase you've already made. Just visit the Yes website for a list of appliances and the size of the cashback available. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from your energy saving solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's YESS.net.au.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 25 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extra's Holistic Care. PhysioExtra.com.
The government is working to support the family of 2 Australians hospitalised in Thailand. The 19-year-old women were found in a critical condition at a hostel in Laos after consuming alcohol believed to have contained methanol. Senior Government Minister Amanda Rishworth has told Today her thoughts are with the pair's loved ones.
This is an absolute parent's worst nightmare. So the government is providing consular assistance to the family, and it's just an awful reminder when you travel overseas, the environment is not the same. You've got to be very conscious of that.
There's been an early morning house fire at Davern Park. Just before 4 a.m, police and MFS crews were called to Hambridge Road. Senior Constable Matt Brown has told David and Will the occupants of the home were evacuated and there have been no reports of serious injury.
Police suspect the fire was deliberately lit. Anyone who may have witnessed the incident is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
And police are appealing for information as they investigate reports of a man acting in an indecent manner at West Beach. The alleged incident happened on Monday last week. The man is described as being around 60 years of age with a tan complexion and grey hair. He was wearing an olive green T-shirt, black shorts and black sunglasses. The federal opposition says the first rollout of cash from the National Reconstruction Fund has taken far too long. The government body is giving $40 million to a Queensland-based mining technology company. The spending comes more than a year after the NRF was first established. Deputy Liberal leader Susan Lee says it's too slow.
Industry policy has been a complete shambles under this government. It's a failure, a complete failure from a government that promised to rebuild manufacturing but delivered a tripling in manufacturing insolvencies, promised cheaper mortgages, cost of living coming down, and all we can see is pain all around us.
A new report shows Australia's productivity levels remain low. The Business Council wants urgent reforms to be made to maintain investment and living standards. They suggest reforms such as reversing recent workplace laws. The Prime Minister has used his third face-to-face meeting with the Chinese President to impress the importance of stability. Anthony Albanese met Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Brazil. Both leaders discussed trade issues and ongoing global conflicts which are threatening international peace. Mr Albanese says there are many areas where Australia and China can work together,
including on our energy transition and climate change. Our whole region will benefit from the prosperity that can flow from peace, security and stability in our region.
Singapore is the target of a South Australian distillers trade delegation. 6 businesses led by Distillers SA are showcasing award-winning gin, whisky, brandy and liqueurs to importers and consumers. Minister for Trade and Investment Joe Sokach says Singapore is an important market for our state.
In the last 12 months, the exports from South Australia to Singapore has grown by 25%. So it's a really important market. And what's really important is that South Australia continues to diversify not only what we're selling, but where we're selling it to. So supporting trade missions like this, particularly into the world's biggest importer of spirits, is really important for local jobs.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And good morning to you as well, Graham. Port Adelaide is daring to dream as it prepares to take on North Melbourne in its preliminary final this Saturday at Icon Park. The Power have won 8 straight but face North Melbourne, who are yet to be beaten this season. Midfielder Kirsty Lamb admitting to Rowie and Timmy G the Roos pose a tough challenge.
An incredible outfit. They obviously played in the grand final last year, haven't lost a game this year. So we know we've got our work cut out for us, but we've got absolute belief that we can get it done. And if we play our style of football, particularly like we played in that fourth quarter, anything can happen.
Brisbane, meantime, is preparing to take on the Crows this Saturday night in this week's other prelim. After a week off, the Brisbane side is feeling refreshed. Winger Orla O'Dwyer says they are an excellent side to play against.
We know they're always going to stay in it. They have an excellent midfield and backs forwards, and they're very similar to us as well, we like to think, with regards having that even contribution across their entire team.
6 athletes have been inducted into the Sport Australia Hall of Fame. They are 3-time world surfing champion Mick Fanning, former Kookaburras captain Mark Knowles, lawn bowl star Karen Murphy, Olympic gold medalist and hurdler Sally Pearson, Supercars and Bathurst 1000 champion Mark Scaife, and dual sport Paralympics champion Liesl Tesch. Scaife telling Wide World of Sports he's truly honoured.
The context of all the disciplines and looking at all the people, I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's the who's who of Australian sport.
Briefly elsewhere, Australia's beaten Pakistan by 7 wickets in Hobart to claim the T20 Series 3-0. Marcus Stoinis named man of the match for his unbeaten 61 off 27 balls. And it's full-time in UEFA Nations League matches this morning. Scotland 2-1 winners against Poland. Croatia and Portugal drew 1-1, while Spain beat Switzerland 3-2. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Marching 5AA traffic.
At Croydon, got a Carvey motorcycle crash in the north-south motorway near Pym Street. Really solid delays inbound at the moment. Paradise, Carvey bus on Darley Road near Gamow Road, and road closures slowly opening up around the east end of the city for the Adelaide 500. Good news this morning, Bartels Road is open for business. Camera this morning too, Blacktop Road at Gould Creek. Look for the RAA sign at over 400 independent RAA approved repairers across SA. You know you can trust them because RAA do. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Sunny today, heading for 25. Tomorrow, sunny 29. Thursday, mostly sunny 34. Then Friday, partly cloudy 37. Currently, it's 17. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Transform your outdoor space and turn it into a great year-round entertainment area with an opening and closing roof from Louver House. Our Louver House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight, so you can entertain no matter the weather. Best of all, they're manufactured right here in SA with rain sensors and options like LED lighting. Find out more with a free design measure and quote. See the light with Louver House. louverhouse.com.au.
Nothing beats driving away in your brand new Mitsubishi, but choosing your brand new Mitsubishi comes pretty close thanks to the team at Agostino Mitsubishi. They've provided excellent service for over 35 years, so you know you're in good hands. Plus, with a 10-year warranty and 10-year cap price servicing on the entire Mitsi range, you know you're getting the best deal. Hurry into Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth or the new state-of-the-art Agostino Mitsubishi Mawson Lakes. Exclusions and conditions including Mitsubishi servicing apply.
Companies and small business that use one solution for their IT management, cybersecurity and AI implementation are always ahead of the curve and ready for anything. One Solution is local too, a full-service technology company right here in Adelaide, offering a diverse range of solutions across IT, telecommunications, phone and mobile systems, cybersecurity and AI. Today, more than ever, it's important to safeguard your business. Do it with One Solution. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes to 9, some advice fresh from SAPOL. Police and emergency services are at the scene of a crash at the north-south motorway, Croydon Park. We received reports of the traffic flow-on effects from this a little bit earlier. The crash involved a car and a motorcycle. The good news is no report of serious injuries. There are traffic restrictions in place. 2 southbound lanes are closed. Police are advising people to avoid the area if possible. So if you're stuck in that, that is why. Now, the other thing that happened in the last 15 minutes is Judy from Hawthorn correctly identified the boarding call sound that we played, which means Judy is in the running to win the Silver Nova Silver Seas cruise, all thanks to Philipman Travel, creating moments you'll never forget. Visit pht.com.au. Tomorrow morning, 2 more boarding calls and 2 more people put on the short list. In our chat with SAPOL at about 6:45 this morning, a remarkable story out of Port Pirie involving a police officer that could have had very serious ramifications. Have a listen to Matt Brown from SAPOL describe to us what happened to a police officer who was trying to stop someone from doing something very dangerous.
About 6 p.m. last night, police received multiple calls from concerned members of the public about a white Holden sedan driving erratically around the town. The car was swerving, hitting other parked cars and fences, and the driver was believed to be under the influence. The car had been reported stolen from Port Pirie South earlier yesterday, and police located the vehicle on Anzac Road at Risdon Park about 6:15. But the car failed to stop for police, and there was a brief pursuit, and a police car was struck, causing minor damage before the pursuit was terminated. And a short time later, police located the vehicle driving into the car park of a school on Wandera Road. An officer managed to reach in through the open window and grab the car keys. However, he was dragged along by the car for a short distance before it came to a stop. The officer suffered minor injuries but was taken to the local hospital. And the driver, a 40-year-old Solomon Town woman, was charged with numerous offences, including driving dangerously to avoid a police pursuit, endanger life, property damage, and refuse the blood test. So she refused bail and will appear in the Port Pirie Magistrates Court today.
So after we heard that story, we were commenting about how, like, to the best of our recollection, and as I say this, I've got that incident at Falafel House in Hindley Street ringing in the back of my mind. Didn't we bring in new laws to protect
emergency services
workers from this kind of stuff? And if that is the case, are those laws going to be used in an instance like this? Well, we've got Wade Burns, the president of the Police Association, on the line to flesh that out a bit more. Wade, good morning, and thanks for joining us. What is your understanding of this? Those laws were brought in, weren't they? Because it doesn't really seem like they're making a hell of a lot of difference.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for having me on this morning. Certainly, there has been an increase in assaults of police over the last 3 years, and these laws that have been brought in, it's really incumbent on them to be executed. We've seen in 2021 there were 403 assaults on police. In 22, 445, and then last year 607.
Wow!
So it's certainly an upward trend.
So, Wade, when you say they need to be applied, what's the hold up? Are the charges not sticking in court? Are they not being levelled in the first place?
Well, I guess it's a matter for the courts around how they manage the judicial process. From our members' point of view, though, what we're seeing and experiencing is that the propensity for violence towards police is in uncharted territory, I guess, and it's one of the reasons that police are doing it tougher than ever in today's environment.
What are the variables that lead to violence against police, Wade? Is it drug use? Is it a perception that you can get away with it? What is it?
I think it's a range of things. Society's changed to a degree. What we are seeing is that a lot of our members are working harder with far fewer resources, so there's actually less police out on the street. And I certainly would see within the metropolitan environment, Hindley Street, for example, I heard you mention earlier, that police presence is often a deterrent. And without that police presence, it can lead to those opportunistic type crimes.
So someone might assault one police officer, but if there's three, they're much less likely to try anything.
Oh, absolutely, and that is really a deterrent. That presence can't be underestimated. The challenge that policing is facing at the moment, even with significant efforts into recruiting, is retaining experienced police officers in the occupation of policing.
Well, we saw that from memory. The figures were like recruited 200 odd new ones in the last 12 months, but more than that number left through retirement and natural attrition.
Yeah, I think the recent data, and my understanding is that about over the last 12 months, there's been an increase of about 23 actual police officers, so 23 extra people out in police cars around the entire state. One of the conversations that we are having with the Malinowskis government at the moment in our enterprise bargaining discussions is really about retention, so better rewarding, better recognising and remunerating current police officers to retain them in the occupation of policing, because at the rate we're going, in 5 years' time, we won't have a functioning police force.
Can I ask, Wade, from I'm not sure if it was agreed to or not, but didn't the coppers in New South Wales just get a really big pay rise?
Yes, they have been working through their enterprise bargaining process over the last 12 months, and they had an offer put to them last week, which is currently out for vote, and that certainly rewards and recognises the existing police to keep them in that occupation. And that's something that I can't put enough stress on, is that the focus around rewarding, recognising, remunerating, and really just appreciating the existing police officers. Every day, they sacrifice their own safety and well-being to support the community.
Well, maybe part of being valued is prosecuting people that assault or attack police officers.
That pay rise, from what I'm reading now, it's been billed as a 4-year, once-in-a-generation agreement, giving officers wage increases of between 22 and 39%.
Yes, it's a significant pay increase for them and their EB, and that's something that I'm talking to the Malinowskis government about in quite detail.
Very good way to attract more people to the job.
It is, and that's something that we keep talking about. Recruiting is a significant piece, and I commend SAPOL and government for their efforts on trying to recruit new police officers. But the issue is that there are more police officers leaving than ever before, and they take those years of experience with them. If we're seeing more than 21 police officers leave policing each month, and that sort of 7 to 10 year mark is a significant drain of experience, and that is irreplaceable.
Absolutely.
So 7 to 10. So what is that? The 7 to 10 years of experience. The sort of that's the group of police officers are leaving. Is that what you're saying? Wait.
Yeah, that's right. So traditionally, from a separations point of view, age retirement was by far the highest percentage of why people were leaving SAPOL. Several years ago, we would see about 18% of separations leaving for an alternative occupation, so resigning. In today's world, and current data shows that more than 50% of separations from policing are police officers who are deliberately choosing to leave policing and go into another occupation.
Well, that amount of experience, they don't sound like they're particularly old either.
No, they're not, and that's part of policing is harder than ever. And SAPOL and the government should be looking at ways to be an employer of choice, but also really valuing, rewarding, and looking after the safety and well-being of the current police officers.
Yeah, well, I mean, at a time when you're trying to recruit people, I mean, the fact that you can get dragged down the road by some drunken ne'er-do-well in Port Pirie and, you know, something might or might not come of it in the courts isn't exactly a, free ad for joining SAPOL, is it?
No, I mean, policing is a fantastic occupation and it offers a lot of variety, and it's a great job. The point that we're making, and I'm certainly talking to government about, is that there are challenges within policing and they need to be recognised. We can't turn a blind eye to them. And part of that is really, it's beyond crisis point, and police officers need to be valued and recognised. It's one of the few occupations where police run into danger to protect everyone else. And they accept that, but they need to be recognised for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Wade Burns, the President of the Police Association of South Australia, thanks for joining us this morning.
However they're being applied, the new rules protecting emergency services workers aren't providing a deterrent impact, are they?
Part of the problem, though, is that, a lot of these people be off their chops on meth and so forth. I don't think they're stopping to think of the legislative nuances of their misconduct.
Well, they should be locked up long enough that they can't do it again.
Dry out, never think about it. That would be one way of approaching it. That bromance between Chris Minns and Peter Malinowskis, I wonder what the Premier thought when he read that Minns had offered the police up to 39%.
Over how many years was that?
4 years.
Okay.
It's 25. It's on average a 25% pay rise. But it's
so somewhere between 6 and 9% a year.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Over 4 years.
Over 4 years.
I got distracted. Did you see that the host of F Boy Island, Abby Chatfield, she's declared that...
No, I didn't. I don't know what the rest of the sentence is, but no, I didn't.
She and her partner have decided that because they're so worried about climate change, they're not going to have children. I reckon the fact that anyone who's involved in any way with a program called F Boy Island, the fact that these people aren't breeding is a good genetic story for the human race, regardless of what their motivation for not doing the business is. Don't you think?
So
it's going to keep humanity intellectually stronger that no one on F Boy Island is having a child. What a putrid idea for a program.
Walking through the logic of the not having kids because of global warming, is the suggestion the answer to combating global warming is the cessation of the human race? Because that doesn't seem to be
illogical, doesn't it? We're so worried that the human race is going to be wiped out by climate change that we're going to stop procreating.
We should just have no more humans ever.
Well, that'll do it too.
I mean, that would fix the problem, I guess, in a sort of absolutist way.
Can we do a Venn diagram here? How many 5AA Breakfast Show listeners watch F Boy Island?
I reckon it'd probably be precious few.
What channel's it on?
It'd be Channel 10.
It's not yours,
all day.
F Boy Island.
Oh, no, it's Foxtel. Binge,
oh,
Lucy says. David.
Say what you like about Foxtel. They provide a good service.
Well, you know what? Something for everyone.
There is also lifestyle food.
Time for traffic. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Thanks, Will. At Croydon, Carvey motorcycle crash on the north-south motorway near Pym Street. Really heavy delays inbound at the moment through there. Paradise, Carvey bus and Darley Road near Gamow Road. And road closures opening up around the east end of the city for the Adelaide 500. Good news this morning, Bart Hills Road open for the drive-in. Cameras this morning, Adelaide Road, Gawler South and John Rice Avenue at Elizabeth Vale. Desire is in the detail with the Audi Q335 TFSI Dynamic Black at 62,900 drive away. Ends November 30. T's and C's apply. See website for details. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Beechwood Homes, Adelaide's leading bespoke home builder, celebrates 35 years. Over that time, they've helped many hundreds of people realise their dream of building a home exactly how they envisioned it. That's the wonderful thing about building with Beechwood. There are no set plans, no set rules. It all starts with a pen, paper, and your ideas. Just like it did 35 years ago. If you can dream it, Beechwood Homes can build it. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
I'm high! The Excelsior Hotel has always felt like home. And for seniors, it's always been great value with 20% discount on selected bistro meals. Yep, 20% off. Feeding the whole family? Bring them all Saturday or Sunday for live acoustic music from 5 p.m. And kids eat free. Some conditions apply. The Excelsior Hotel feels like home, but better. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
Everybody knows Right Price are the heating and cooling experts. So imagine how much you can save when they join forces with EcoVantage, the incentive experts. Together with Right Price, EcoVantage will help you source all the government incentives you're entitled to when it comes to heating and cooling your home, including energy-efficient heat pump hot water systems. Right Price and EcoVantage, the best of both worlds when it comes to heating, cooling and government incentives.
Are you ready? Mawson Lakes Mazda's 2024 plate clearance sale is on now. Discover these drive-away deals across the entire range, including free 12 months rego, free stamp duty, as well as $500 off a range of accessory options. Hurry in to find your perfect model and colour. The sooner you get to the showroom, the better your chance of scoring your dream car. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway. T's and C's apply. Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 minutes to 9, time for Fuel Watch. It's better to be a member with RAA Rewards. Download the RAA app and start saving today. The ex-convenience Main North Road has it cheapest at $1.54.3 there at Jeps Cross. The ex-convenience Crossroads South Plimpton is $1.57.5. And the ex-convenience on Grand Junction Road, Port Adelaide, is also at $1.57.5 this morning. The cheapest diesel, the Liberty Marion, on Marion Road is $1.63.9.
Good news, no one who listens to the 5AA Breakfast Show appears to watch F-Boy Island.
Doesn't seem that way.
Didn't think they would. According to the Dutton's text
The other
line.
thing that no one in the 5AA Breakfast audience has ever done is gone to Azerbaijan. We had yesterday... We asked any of our listeners, have you ever been to Baku, the capital? The reason, because that's where the Premier has jetted off to try and pitch to world leaders that the next COP summit, this is the big climate emergency summit, should be held here in Adelaide. This is the one that attracts, the Hollywood stars from Leonardo DiCaprio to your Greta Thunbergs to all the invested climate parties around the world. Here's the Premier talking about how big it would be on 7 News last night.
COP would make a gather round look very, very small indeed. This is 30 to 40,000 delegates coming from all over the world to one city at one point in time. It is bigger than Ben-Hur.
Stands for Conference of the Parties, COP, by the way, in case you're wondering. They had to do a feasibility study to say, do we actually have enough hotel beds in Adelaide to host this event? And we do. Which is why he's heading over there. But we got talking about it. We wanted to talk to someone who's been to Baku, because if you read about it and Google it, it's one of the more extraordinary places on Earth, with some of the most remarkable architecture you've ever seen. They've essentially, it doesn't seem to be any planning codes in Baku. If you're an architect with a big idea, they'll let you build it,
go your hardest.
Whatever it might well be, and it's a stunning city. Well, so we think.
We should have put the Crows headquarters there.
They would have got built in 15 seconds. But we haven't been there. Dennis Bunnock has, though, from Bunnock Tours, who joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Now, Dennis, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So what took you to Baku, Dennis? What was the thing that made you end up there?
Oh, we actually have a tour through Bunnik Tours that starts in Baku, does Azerbaijan, Georgia, and then Armenia. And I must say, it is a fascinating city. I joined our very first tour last year.
So it's on the Caspian Sea. Is that like a beach type sort of setting? Like, can you swim there?
I wasn't tempted to jump in the water, but it is right on the water, and but it's a city that's oil built. They discovered oil there, and in the 19th century, it really took off, which explains all of the fantastic architecture, not just the modern stuff, but also the older stuff from the 1900s.
So what does it sort of?
It looks like Paris.
Yeah, I was going to say, like a lot of that really beautiful sort of 19th century modernist architecture, like it looks a little bit like, yeah, as you say, Paris or even Barcelona.
That's right. So in some parts, you're walking through what looks like the streets of Barcelona or Paris with amazing outdoor cafe and pedestrian areas. Then there's an old part that sort of dates back to the 12th century. And then you look up the hill and there is this incredible futuristic modern architecture.
And as Will was saying, they seem to have made architecture like a sort of a tourist attraction in its own right by just having a completely sort of laissez-faire attitude to building approvals.
I think so. I think they are, well, if we're going to build a new building, let's make it spectacular. And not only during the day, but then at night, they've got these incredible light shows where the buildings are all lit up and they've got video screens and stuff on some of them. Which gets the locals out as well as the tourists, and it's a really nice atmosphere.
So it's sort of basically you got Georgia on one side on the Black Sea, and then the continuation of that on the eastern side is Azerbaijan. So you went through Georgia as part of the same tour as well.
That's right, yeah. So you go up through the Caucasus Mountains into Georgia, and Georgia is where they invented wine about 6,000 years ago. So
yeah, that's right.
Absolutely fantastic.
Have they
food
perfected
and
it
wine
though,
experience.
Dennis?
Oh, it's not as good as a Barossa Shiraz, I'd have to admit that. But it is. I was going to say they brew it. They don't. They ferment it underground in these big clay pots, and it's an interesting process. And hey, wine tastes good anywhere when you're on holiday.
Is that the wine? Is it called Saperavi? Is that the grape?
I think so.
There's a couple of wineries in McLaren.
I didn't make notice.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah. There's a whole load of new varieties and stuff that they're growing down there, and it's fantastic.
Mm. Yeah, I think Hugh Hamilton make it, and also Lino Ramble make good Georgian wine.
That was fascinating, Dennis. Thank you for that, Dennis. Bunnik
What an
and Bunnik
excellent
Tours.
thing.
You can go there and you can go on a tour.
Just do a
Starting
Google
in
images
Baku.
search.
It's well worth the time. It is a fascinating place to
Yeah.
look at. Not that I've been there, but it certainly sounds extraordinary. Thank you for that, Dennis.
Good on you, Dennis.
We have to pitch our own uniqueness to try and get the COP people down here.
How many people would come? It's like 50,000, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, it was
crazy.
Yeah. Matt Pantelis is coming up in a moment. We are out of time. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock, and we'll catch you then.
You wake up in the morning, there's two scam